Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof and this is level 213. Joining me tonight is KooshMoose.
Hello.
Big L.
Yo, what up?
And we have a guest. Michelle could not make it, so we pulled in Proulx. What's up, buddy?
Hey, thanks for having me on again.
Heck yeah, it's been a while. Whatever, I don't even remember what level it was when we took 3 years to beat Borderlands
Level, whatever that was. That's when the last time I was here.
Yeah. KT Echo, let us know.
I mean, we talked about it.
We could bing it. We could bing it.
That sounds like work.
I mean, Proulx is...
One of you guys can get your 5 points.
Proulx is the equivalent of my gaming work spouse. I mean...
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I don't really know what that means either, but
me neither.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, besides Michelle, I would say...
I don't know what that means. I don't know if that's a
well, I have
compliment or an insult.
Two days a week, at least, I play with Proulx. And
that's
a lot of days. We're playing some cowabungas.
And none of them are... Unfortunately, none of them are on Proulx Day, which you would think would be the best day. Yeah, I'm just saying.
All right, we have to add something.
Although we are now recording on a Proulx Day.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Jesus.
I can keep going if you want, but no, I know.
I'm sure you can. How's Proulx mate?
Oh, you know what? He is great. He's in Boston. His sister just got married, so they were in New York. Him and his wife, and now he's just doing great. Doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with anything, but he's doing fantastic. So
that's good. No more PF Chang's. No more free food for you.
No, that's true.
There's going to be about 7 people that understand exactly what it is that we're talking about.
Yep.
So for the rest of you that don't understand what we're talking about because you're a suck and you don't come into the Discord or join Xbox Live parties, let's get into our news and topics of discussion. For this week, we had a question that was raised to us from Freamwhole, someone Proulx has never heard of or ever done a podcast with. His question is, what is your most controversial gaming take? Short and sweet, very easy one. I'll go ahead and read off his answer just to kick off the discussion. He says, mine is, despite its family-friendly appearance, Nintendo is anti-consumer and predatory. I think the games suffer because of it, and I don't know why everyone loves them so much. Yeah, that's controversial. I agree.
I don't think it's controversial at all. It's true.
Okay, maybe it's not controversial unless L wants to be devil's advocate. But yeah,
I mean, I guess it's controversial because Nintendo's so beloved. So you would think that if something was so bad that it would cease to be.
Maybe I don't agree with the predatory so much, but the anti-consumer, absolutely.
Yeah, the anti-consumer. I don't know if anyone could really argue against that one.
Yeah, Kennedy, can I have your 17-digit friend code to play Switch with you, and then a QR code to play Pokemon Go with you? And
and did you buy Pokemon Go for the third time on the third system, rather than allow me to play it?
2 versions of the same game that they're going to play for? Pay.
And then we can party up on a Nintendo app on our cell phone. Which definitely we cannot call each other. That would just be silly.
And then they will put out they'll sue you for something because they like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use their music
while using a game console that is about as powerful as the Xbox 360.
In my mind, it's like you can kind of equate Nintendo to Disney in a lot of ways, where they have sort of this built-in nostalgia-driven fan base. And
100% agree.
It's and it is for good reason in a lot of ways. There are a lot of properties that they have or things that they built up over time that have endured. But yeah, of course, no. Sometimes, and of course, I've said this before, and I've told this to Freem to his face back in the days when we were doing Z to Z. But Nintendo was run by 150-year-old Japanese men. So it's not just that they're predatory and that I think they're just out of date. I think they're just all really old and they don't really know what's going on. And, it is frustrating for sure. I am a Nintendo fan myself, but I definitely, understand the frustration.
It's the consumer's fault though, to some degree. Because how many of us bought a Game Boy and then bought a Game Boy Color, and then bought a Game Boy Advance, and then bought, Advance Lite or SP, and then a DS without the light, and then the DS with the light, then the 3DS. We all did it.
I definitely do not have every single one of those things that you just said.
Mm-hmm.
We all bought into it.
Yeah, but at least, they're at least upgrades. Well, most of them anyway. The DS is not really. It's all the same basic. It's a stupid thing. They take
The
a couple of
DS XL
steps per generation. What were you going to say, Nate?
I was going to say they have the DS XL, and
Absolutely.
the DS XXL, and
But
Yeah.
to be
DS
fair, but people
Macchiato,
kept buying them.
they're
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
And
Gotcha.
the thing about them, okay, Disney at least will lower the price on a DVD after a couple months, but Nintendo games cost the exact same amount that they did on day one.
Well,
I
don't know if you know this,
Right?
but Mario Kart 8 came out for the Wii U. This was 8 years ago now, and it is still $60, and it will never go on sale because they've sold almost 50 or 60 million units or whatever the hell it is. But
and no one has a Wii U anymore.
yeah, no.
Most of their properties everyone loves because they're driven by nostalgia. And I get it. There's like 6 different games that I will buy, and that's about, or 6 franchises I should say that I'll buy, and that's about it. I don't use my Switch for anything else except for those couple of exclusives that I cannot get anywhere else.
Like, or in the Blind Forest. Got it.
Yeah, absolutely not. And that's the other thing that Nintendo has going for them, and is why everyone is able to overlook all of their anti-consumer bullcrap, is because of their exclusives that everyone must have because they grew up with Zelda or Metroid or what have you.
Okay, now we're straying a little too far.
Yeah, it's a different rant.
Now we're starting to say some inflammatory things. Let's move on.
All right, we'll move on. Nate, would you like to give your controversial take and or read some patron responses?
Yes, I would love to read some patron responses.
I'll be stalling too, don't worry.
Level 1 Bard Barry says, the Series X has been great for marketing as the most powerful console, but has largely been a waste for consumers. I can see the steam rising from Kenny's head right now.
I would like to hear the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I agree a little bit with that. I think there's some truth to that, in that the console maybe wasn't using the horsepower right from the get-go, and we're now getting to the point in its life cycle where it's really starting to show the power and how much better it is than previous consoles and current gen consoles. It's really getting to that point where it's starting to separate itself from the pack. And yeah, I can kind of see that. I can kind of see the logic there if that's where he's going with that.
Yeah, no, I agree actually with this sentiment. I think because in the before times, in the last generation or 10 or whatever, when you bought let's say a PlayStation 2 or N64, a Dreamcast or whatever, this cross-gen idea didn't exist. Now, I'm happy that it still does exist, but I would still expect to have Series X only games. And if you go to the Series X only games, well, are they really Series X only, or do they just say they throw a 4K coat of paint on it? There's nothing that the system can do that's exclusive to itself. There are small features, of course, that it can do, but there's not like this big, awesome, grandiose thing that you can't play on an X. Foof, how long did you play on your VCR Xbox One? Like all the same games we were playing on our Series X for a year and a half.
Up until about 8 months ago on Christmas.
Yeah, so I definitely. Okay, if you're going to be the world's most powerful console and you have literally no software to show for it, does it matter? Kind of a thing,
But there are Series X games now. I mean, if you want to argue at launch, okay, I can see that point a little bit more. But now there's like games are Series X only. They're not making Xbox One versions. And then not to mention, I mean, when we were playing Zoo Tycoon, how much faster did you guys get into the game before I did? It was like a solid 45 seconds.
Right. But how much faster did your, like we mentioned, or I just mentioned before, like, did your PlayStation 2 games load than your PlayStation 1 game? No, wasn't even a thing. You couldn't even play them there. It was not a thing that you could do. So it does feel like it's kind of a waste. If
well, the intentions were also different, right? So when you went from 8-bit to 16-bit, of course, there's no way that your 8-bit console is going to be able to play a 16-bit game. Like it just can't happen. But the time between those consoles was so great, and now you've got the Xbox putting out multiple. So of course the concern then is I don't want to upgrade if I don't have to. I want to be able to play stuff. So yeah, you get some speed benefits and you get some, HDMI benefits and such. Playing from your okay, yeah, you're the guy that was on the VCR, so you probably saw the huge jump. I didn't see it.
Oh my god,
I upgraded as they went.
Freaking night and day.
Yeah, I upgraded as they went, so I didn't see that huge jump. But that was the concern most recently was, okay, we don't want to alienate people that just bought an Xbox like 4 years ago, or just bought the half step, 2 years ago. Like we don't want to alienate them. So I can kind of understand that, but
and like the PlayStation 1 to the PlayStation 2 or the Super Nintendo to the N64, that was like the before times, whereas now, everything is cross-gen. Your Xbox One plays 360, your Series X plays 360 and Xbox One, your PS5 can play PS4, that's just kind of like how the market's gone, and this is, modern times. That's just expected at this point.
PC can play PS5.
No matter what side of the coin you fall on that one. But like when it comes to the performance, it is literally night and day. I mean, the Series X is so much faster in every single way, whether it be downloading speeds, loading games, switching games, just starting up the Series X, it just turns on. The VCR Xbox, I turn it on and then go grab a snack and come back to play a game. So it's like I guess if you don't care about speed and you're not a graphic snob and your 720p is just fine, then yeah, I guess I can see the Series X has been a waste, as we haven't had a real big Series X exclusive yet. Eyes on Starfield for later on, but like as far as performance goes, oh my god, it's so much better. It's night and day.
So Hawkeye Berry, he's a little bit right, but he's mostly wrong. And Alhizo
wait a minute.
Says, my hot take, let me tell you about Rockstar's currency.
I didn't get my take.
All serious though. Oh, do you have a take?
Yeah.
Go for it.
All right.
What it sounds like you guys are saying is that the Xbox is doing exactly what Nintendo was doing, putting out new consoles every few years. And we are buying them. Except for Kenny.
Well, I mean, okay, I just punched my mic.
What just happened?
No, I think that's a little...
He got so irritated.
No,
It's controversial.
Got it, bro?
I was just going to say, no, I don't. I mean, if you're talking about iterations on the same generation, like the 3DS to the 2DS, XL, whatever, blah blah blah, it's the same sort of thing. Like Kenny is comparing.
No, I understand. I'm being facetious, but
no, I understand.
But we spent $1,500 on 3 different Xbox Ones that are basically the same thing. I think that's what maybe Hawkeye is saying. I wish he expanded a little more on what.
But they're better. They're faster. That's the thing. It's not like you're getting the same box. There is a significant boost, whether it be in performance or graphics. Mm-hmm.
But if you compare the Xbox Series X to the Xbox One X, it's a very different experience than what you're talking about. It is not a night and day difference. It is an incremental difference. It is a minor bump. So to ask anyone to pay the $500 or whatever it was when that first came out versus the series, yeah, I agree. And again, I think the idea here is when they're touting it's the most powerful console, and you have nothing with which to show that. It's not like
Right.
come out with make Halo Infinite only Series X and make it the coolest thing you could ever see, and you would never even want to play it on an old Xbox. Then I think maybe you would have something to kind of drive it. But no, if you keep splitting it like this, what's the point of spending all that money?
It's true. Like we
Right.
got the new Just Dance was a stack. It came on the Xbox Series X and the X, and then the new WWE 2K22 was also a stack, Series X and the One. There is no difference at all. Sure, there's going to be a little bit of loading time.
It's prettier.
It's not even prettier. The loading, of course, but if we didn't have it, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know.
Another thought that he might have meant is the difference between the Series S and the Series X. Now, if you want to sit here and tell me that the Series X has been largely a waste over the Series S, I can definitely get behind that more for most people, as the main difference between the two consoles is, number one, the hard drive space, and then number two, the fact that the S cannot do 4K 120, whereas the X can do 4K 120.
Right.
That I can see is
And we get the
a waste for a lot of people, as they don't have a 4K TV, or they just don't care. They're fine with a 1440p.
and
instead
we
of
get
4K.
the disk drive that people may or may not care about at this point.
Yeah, and that's also where something I didn't even think about until you just said that, Al. Yeah, I care about having the CD drive because I have a large physical collection of games.
My man.
Well, my controversial take is that you don't need physical games anymore, you crazy people. God,
Well,
what are you doing? You should be Game Share
Wasn't
partners.
it just like
and then you could be spending $60 once for the same game. What are you people doing?
But wasn't it just like 2 or 3 weeks ago we were just talking about how Sony is pulling down games, or I'm sorry, not games, movies from some streaming service that people bought
If you buy
and spent all their money on, and now they
how many
just
games are
lost
really
the
going
ability
away?
to see that.
They're not.
Go ask Nintendo.
They're not going
Wait
away.
10 years. Wait 10 years.
Yeah,
Hey,
unfortunately.
Al, do
You're
me a
not going to
favor.
pull out any
Go
Xbox
find a
One
Wii
games in 10
and
years.
download.
You're not.
Go find a Wii and download some games for me. I'll wait.
But Xbox is all about the
That's
backwards
gonna wind up
compatible.
happening to
you see.
everything.
I don't know. Will it?
I would be willing to.
We're still
bet,
playing our
because
2005
all the
360
all big
games.
companies are the same. Some may be better in some areas, but deep down, all companies are the same, and it's going to be a matter of time before that starts happening. Nintendo's doing it. Sony's doing it with different movies. I can see your digital. And wait, we just talked about last week, L.A. Noire. Go do me a favor. Go download the DLC
That's
for that.
very true.
Do me a favor. Do that.
Well, the DLC was all digital to begin with, and unless you bought the complete collection. But yes, of course.
On what kind of media? Begins with a P.
PlayStation. Police drama.
Physical.
You know how annoyed I was
Look,
having
moral
to
is-
change discs.
The
No one
point
likes
of the
doing
rant is let's get physical.
that. All right.
I don't think
Nine
that
Inch
was
Nails
it.
song.
But continuing on, Ahizo, poor Ahizo got left behind. His hot take, let me tell you about Rockstar's currency.
Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
In all seriousness, though, that the share button that started on the PS4 controller and came over to the PS5 and Series controllers is one of the most ridiculous controller changes I've ever seen. I don't
What?
see this as being super controversial. I don't know what it takes on the PlayStation, but Xbox, you press guide, Y, or X, and you're done. Did we really need a button for that? Yes.
Yes.
I know online games and all that. It doesn't take that long, and situations where it makes sense are few and far between. People seem to overwhelmingly praise the addition of the button, but I honestly think the level to which they do so is close to the epitome of gamer laziness and impatience. For me,
Yes.
I hit that button all the time by accident, and I get upset. It makes me mad, and which is why I'm glad a recent system update allows you to turn that off and just say,
does
hey,
it?
your fat finger doesn't do anything now. And it's got like 3 states, right? It's got like just press, and it's got like press and hold, and it's got like double press.
You know why it's annoying?
You can actually
I like
configure
that.
that. Yeah.
First, you pressed it by accident, and then about 20 seconds later, you get a bleep loop that says "uploaded to Xbox Live." So, I know you know what I'm talking about. So it's like a double annoyance.
Yeah, and then you have
I've
to go
never
delete it
disabled
and all. Yeah,
But
yeah. I disabled it.
that
but-
said, I have used
Not
it
on every
purpose as
controller,
well,
apparently.
'cause I like to record craziness that happens.
Well, back in the day, you used to just tell your Kinect to record that.
Yes, and then
Like, you don't have to worry about
your
it.
Xbox would
Who
turn
needs a
off.
button
and
when
it's,
you've got-
also.
You've got your voice. Or the one in the other room would do something, and it would tell Siri to do something. And so
hit guide and hit X, and it was done. Right, like it's not a big deal.
yeah.
Well, the problem
Well-
is it, and that's the thing too. Is like depends on how. So I use it frequently in Rocket League. In between, like when I score an awesome aerial goal.
Oh,
I literally only have 2 seconds to do anything. So I'm like, oh, I want to save those 30 seconds. I can press and hold. Like, look, I'm not going to be like, it's not like I love the share button, but I do use it frequently. And that's a situation where, like, sometimes it's not like as bad as it was on the 360, but sometimes you'll press the guide button and it'll hang up for a second or two. Like, you won't get into it. And
Yep,
I'm
yep.
already starting the next play in Rocket League. So, and why not add the button? I don't mind the button. I don't hit it accidentally. I don't know, maybe if I have skinny fingers or something. But also, you can disable it, like you mentioned. You can also remap it, which is awesome, for something else.
You can.
So, yeah.
I did not know that.
in the
Yeah,
Xbox Accessories app. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a great addition just to have an extra button, if for no other reason. But also, I like the share function. So, that's just me.
I've remapped mine to the achievements pane, so you can actually, I think, double tap it and it brings up the achievements pane. So
I did not know you could do that.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Ah.
Forget
Now
what I-
do I want to keep the share or the capture button, or do I want to do that? Because I'm with Proulx. I like the capture button. I mean, there has been times where I've accidentally pressed it and it's like, oh, that's annoying. But I like it. I think the PlayStation 4, if I remember correctly, did it better in that, like, you could make a set. You could add some sort of a setting to where it went right to Twitter or something like that. I might be remembering that wrong.
it's because you
Or maybe
guys are
that's
jerks
Facebook.
and like to take video of me like hanging out in lava and turtles, or like doing something stupid and Left 4
Shooting the
Dead.
ground.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This is why you guys like
if
it.
for
so
no
much.
other
Koosh
reason.
never uses it because he plays with smart people like Saucy and Matt. Never mind.
Oh, boy.
I've changed my opinion on it. The button is necessary. It is a good addition. Now, for my hot take, I couldn't think of anything that was controversial. I think anything that's too controversial. But we were talking about it pre-show, so Proulx, I may steal it, and you can jump in. I'm gonna say it. I think that quick resume's not worth the trouble.
Yeah.
Oh,
Quick resume. I've lost too much progress in games I care about, and I've had games kind of get wacky on me, and I have to restart them. And for me, it's just not worth it. I consistently every time, and I've taught my daughter this as well. When you stop playing a game, you hit the menu button and you hit quit, and then you don't have problems. And then it's good.
I have a rebuttal.
It's not.
Go ahead.
Do it.
All right, go ahead.
'Cause I know you have the correct rebuttal.
I have the correct rebuttal. Yes, and I was going to talk about this later during contest, but I'll just do it now. So I have been doing the Paugi games for the Alphabet Challenge on TA, and Quick Resume is supported on all of them. So I'm just going in and out of each game, and I am not quitting out every single time, Nate. There is no need for it. A, B,
I
C,
said
D,
games,
E,
not
F, G,
Paugi.
done.
It's not a real game.
No, but it's a game.
It's not a
For
real
a
game.
server-based game
Shit.
like Forza Horizon, you have to quit.
Mhm.
For Power Wash Simulator, you have to quit. Unfortunately, some of these games, I agree, but not every game. It's certainly not every game.
It's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Hang on,
It's not
It's
necessary.
certainly
Why,
not every game.
why Power Simulator specifically?
Because, well, if you're playing co-op with someone, it kind of hangs you in that co-op space, and then next time you boot up, it'll say network error. That's all. So anything with server-based, yeah, unfortunately, just I know from experience with that one. So anything,
You know,
Yeah, I think X lost some progress in Power Wash the other day because of that.
that
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day, and it's just like one of the big like bonuses to having the Series X and the Series S is literally the hard drive speed.
Yep.
Like it's so fast. So even if you don't use Quick Resume, you're waiting through 7 seconds of loading. So it's fine.
It's not true.
Like Quick resume takes 2 seconds anyways. You're literally missing out on
2
5
is better than
seconds.
7.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 is better than 7, but not if you lose an hour
Go
of
through all the
progress.
POWG games and go to those stupid loading screens every single time. And the other thing with those
Now, if I
POWG
can-
games is they ask you to choose your profile every single time also when you boot it up, which is really annoying.
Now, if I could configure it per game and say, yes, I want it on this game,
You can.
or no, I
You
don't
can
want it on this
exit out
game.
of the ones that you know don't work. And you've never
Mhm.
given a single example of things that have hurt you. Tell us where the quick resume hurt you.
Sure, I have. Yeah, it hurt me on Phoenix Rising. Go back.
You said a real
Look
game,
up
though.
the episode. Yeah, that's a real game. That's a good game. You'll never play it because it's
I
a
will-
good game.
What happened in Phoenix Rising? I don't remember.
It's a seriously good game, and it takes a very long time,
So
and you have to put a lot of time into
So
it.
is that
and
a server-based
it ate my
game?
daughter's progress, and that's one way to make me very
Well,
mad is to make
there's
my
no
daughter
way quick
cry.
resume eats progress. I just don't believe it.
It
Don't believe it.
messed up her progress. It happened. So
I have a perfect use case scenario for it, though. I actually have the one thing I do have in Quick Resume is Morrowind, the original Xbox game Morrowind, which I play just occasionally, just for fun.
Good game. Great game.
That's a perfect. I literally load into it in a second. I'm in the game, and there's no achievements because it's an original Xbox game, but it's beautiful. If Quick Resume got to that point, I would be fine with it. But I've also had issues like Koosh has, where I've gone into it and it's wonk. Like even if I don't lose progress, but I load into the game and it forces me to quit the game, then you're already out. Quick Resume is already losing because if I just loaded into the game without having to load up Quick Resume, get some error, close the game, then reopen it, it's just not even worth. I'm not getting anything out of that. I'm losing
You're getting
time. Out
your
of
game
that. So-
resumed quicker.
Yeah, server-based games, a quick resume is trash. It doesn't work. Like Elle said with like
Yeah.
Forza.
I'll
But, like,
agree.
I forget what we were playing a couple weeks ago. But we were playing a game on Thursday nights, and like in between matches or downtime or whatever it was. Actually, I think it was Turtles. Like when we had downtime or something like that in between games, I swapped over and I was playing Hades because it's quick resume, and then everybody's back. It's time to get back in the game. Okay, swap back over to Turtles.
Right.
Start playing again.
It's good for stuff like that.
Actually, it might not have been Turtles because that's server base. I don't know. It was something we were playing. I can't remember what it was.
I like toys.
But either way, my point stands. I was playing Hades in between waiting for whatever to happen.
I will give one more negative to go against my side. If you quick resume a 360 game, it'll boot you out of live. So you have to make sure you're connected to live. So be careful.
That's not a
So be
surprise,
careful
but
of that. Yeah.
Once again, server.
Yeah.
That's actually good to know. I'm actually glad you said that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I didn't even know if Quick Resume was
Yeah,
on the
it
360
works.
games. Huh,
It works.
Hmm.
You just have to quickly sign in.
that's cool.
Remember to do that before popping any achievements. So
All
you
right.
had a good take there, Nate. Wrong and
Yeah.
controversial.
no, it's not wrong. I'm
You
right.
said you don't have any controversial takes. You do. Came up with one.
Well, that's the only thing I can think of that was controversial.
I mean, there's so many easy ones like Borderlands sucks.
That's
UFC sucks.
No.
All right, I'm just gonna leave.
Destiny sucks.
Star
I can
Trek.
put my stamp on that.
All right.
Any other patrons?
I'll go
or
ahead
anything?
and go ahead, El.
Oh.
If you got one, go for it.
All right, I got a good one. GT3 Option Fan says, "Here's my controversial take: completion percentage and any TA stats related to your gaming are relatively arbitrary and should be used in a way to enhance your enjoyment of a game, not limit your options to what you want to play." Now, this turned into a huge discussion in our patron room where people talked about the obvious, where people won't play the Gears of War games because of their achievements, games that they would otherwise enjoy, etc. Now, while I agree with the heart of what he's saying, you can play in whatever way you want. So there are some of us that like to get gamer score, there's some of us that like to go for ratio, and there's some of us who like both. In this scheme of things, avoiding games that you would like for the silly numbers is silly, but like I tend to I'll play a game if it's hard, but if something's got a bunch of unobtainables, I probably won't start it.
But will you play a game if it's hard if there's no co-op? Because I feel like maybe that's not the case.
how's it going? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. I don't know. It depends.
I have no
It
rebuttal
depends
to this.
on
I kind of agree.
It depends on it. It depends. It's a game I want to play. These days, especially nowadays, I don't care. It's a Game Pass game. I'll play game day one. Some people will wait to make sure people have completed it first before starting it, just to be sure. Whatever.
I've played Ratalaika games. I don't care about my tag no more.
That was it.
It's already
That was
ruined.
it.
So I'll start up a game of unobtainables.
It's interesting to me because like I've made a shift in my gaming towards specifically what he calls out here, which is completion percentage, and I did that deliberately. That's kind of what I wanted to work on. There's 8,000 trillion games, and whether you are playing games for gamer score or for completion percentage or ratio, like you mentioned, El, we all have to pick somehow what we want to do with all of these sorts of things. So maybe if you pick a goal in mind, it depends on how strict you are, I guess, with it. But that's my goal right now. So that's kind of what I'm working on. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, this one really does just come down to play the way you want to play. But yeah, I largely agree with what he says. Now, let's say True Achievements, Pipe Dream, got bought out by Microsoft. And now you could see your TA ratio, your completion percentage, and all that on your gamer card on Xbox. My opinion on this would probably flip. That's why I generally don't care about the TA stats, just because 99.9% of people on the planet, if you were to say, or that play Xbox, if you were to talk about True Achievements, they have no idea what you're talking about. But if I mention gamer score, oh yeah, I know exactly what that is. And because of that, that's why I largely just don't care about the TA stats as much.
Yeah, if Microsoft took the achievements a little more seriously, gave you a little more background and in-depth statistics of your own sort of card, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Oh my God, it'd be amazing.
But of course they don't. But maybe someday.
I mean, the fact that they don't kind of makes you think that maybe we are way more niche than we think we are day to day, and we forget we're
I don't know,
very
man.
niche.
Like we're the majority of the people that are achievement hunting, they're definitely niche. Like, don't get me wrong, this is definitely a niche hobby within the gaming space. But at the same time, like, they do periodically mention achievements, or even like gaming podcasts, even like the
sale for gamer for achievement hunters that have horrible games. Yes.
Or like the IGN podcasts or other gaming podcasts, like they do periodically go, yeah, I like getting achievements, or they mention achievements.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's like stupid super niche, but like it definitely is a niche part of the community. I'm gonna go ahead and read off another patron response. This one comes
Wait a minute.
This one,
It's my turn.
Well,
oh, okay. If you want to go,
Yeah,
go for
I
it.
do, because between the four of us, I think we might have some dissension here.
oh boy.
I'm going to read Chewy's response.
Okay.
He says that he doesn't tend to have too many controversial hot takes, just like Koosh here, because he skews positive on things and follow the herd of popular opinion. Having said that, Gears of War and Halo are extremely overrated series.
Shoot that Wookiee.
He says, I think maybe people would agree they are now, but I'd argue even back in the day they were just not all that great. But he says, I also dislike shooters. So,
Well, there's your answer.
he wants to talk. Well, okay, that's fine. But we can talk about Halo and Gears of War and whether or not maybe they are or are not overrated.
He is right that Halo is overrated and it always has been.
Well, he said Gears
Shoot
first.
that moose.
No,
He said Gears
he-
first.
there's another
so-
clue.
Clearly
another
says
sentence.
Halo.
Yes, he says. Okay, sorry. I especially dislike that Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix are regularly hailed as great protagonists, when in my eyes, one is a very boring, faceless grunt, and the other is a walking thumb with emphysema. So,
What are you talking about?
my
tomatoes.
tomatoes. Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, somebody should pick up on maybe Elle first, because you kind of have your foot in both camps, right? You like both of the games, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing Halo since 2001. It's crazy. we've talked about this many times, but basically Halo to me is multiplayer. And that includes multiplayer co-op campaign. I don't like playing the solo legendary at all. I think the campaigns are generally samey, and they're fun in 4-player and 2-player, but multiplayer is still fun to this day, even though it's largely the same 20 years later. Gears, I like the campaigns, and I don't really like the multiplayer as much. And it has nothing to do with the achievements either, which are generally pretty bad. And I know Chewy and his crew are going through going for seriously on Gears, so that might be skewing his opinion right now, because that's not that great. Although I think he's got a good group where they have good conversation. As far as great protagonists go, I think Marcus is entertaining. I think Master Chief is kind of bland, so maybe not so controversial.
I absolutely agree with the protagonist. I think Marcus is more interesting than Master Chief. Now, the reason I like Gears of War is because I came from Unreal Tournament, and I just loved what they were doing. And of course, Cliffy B, with Gears of War, that was fun. And just the crew I was playing Unreal Tournament with, we started playing Gears of War, and that was just fun. So that to me was great. Now, I was also into, now I can't remember the name of it now. The Bungie game.
Marathon.
Destiny.
No, before that. Marathon, thank you. I was into Marathon and all the Marathon games. And, of course, Bungie switched over to Halo. They were supposed to be doing Halo. And then, of course, as the Mac community, we got very upset with Bungie for porting that over.
Oh, so you have a grudge.
And, yeah, we had a little grudge with it. But it's also just not, it's not good to me. Like, I cannot get over the textures. The textures are just so bland and boring when you're inside the spaceship. Every hallway looks the same and just get turned around. I've never really loved Halo. I've been okay with it, but just never really loved it. And I people get really behind it, and I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Didn't you have fun with the Infinite pretty recently?
I had some fun with it, yeah. But then something shiny happened, and I went on.
You played for longer than usual. More than a week. More than a day.
It was maybe a week I was logging in every day to get a shiny thing. Just like Fall Guys. But Fall Guys lasted longer than Halo.
I mean,
8 days.
To Chewy's point about them being overrated series, maybe now as opposed to then. Now, I can't necessarily disagree, especially with Halo, because 4 is the worst in the series. 5 is very just nothing of a game to me, and Infinite is the 343 has just been missing on so many things. Back in the day, though, no, I think Halos 1, 2, 3, and Reach are absolutely incredible. I believe, in my opinion, all 4 of those are 10 out of 10 games. I mean, we've talked about it before. Halo 1 and 2 especially are products of their time. I'm not going to sit here and try to defend the campaign levels, because you do go through one direction and then the second half you go through the other. It was a product of its time. So if you didn't like it, I get it. It is hard to argue, but as far as a first-person shooter goes, I think it is an incredible game, and I would never say that they are overrated.
Yeah.
And Gears I don't have as big of an opinion on, because I played through all 5, 6 of them in early 2020 or 2020, 2021, I think is when I did them all. And I enjoyed all of them. I loved every single game. I thought one held up. So,
yeah, I think it's, for me, it's like, I agree kind of with the sentiment that they were better in their prime. Like, Halo was, I think, in my opinion, it was a 9, like at its peak as a series. Like, if you're dropped into 2008 and you're playing Halo 3, like that's kind of the best experience you're going to have in a first-person shooter, or very close to it. And the same thing with Gears. Like, Gears is kind of a smaller time frame. The 1, 2, and 3, I think, was when it was at its prime. And since then, they're both, as series, they're kind of floundering. Nobody knew, like, clearly Microsoft or 343 or the Coalition at this point, whoever's working on these these projects don't know what to do with them to carry them forward. But I think at their peak, I do think that they were very impressive, big, fun games. Like compare Gears 2 and Halo 3, which would have been contemporaries. Maybe it was Gears 1, but relatively close to each other within a year or two. And that's a huge thing. Like, you'd have those big, ginormous, bombastic shooters with multiplayer and Forge and all of this stuff all built in. Imagine that, 343. And just really solid packages. And now Gears 5 comes out and Halo Infinite comes out, and maybe there's some press about it, but it's like Halo 3 was a thing that happened. Like, it was like a cultural milestone event, and I just don't think we're ever going to get back to that. So I can definitely see his point. That's all.
Yeah, but they had to come out with the new games. They're not just going to not come out with the new games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, both series just don't know exactly what they want to be because they're kind of products of their time.
I think Gears 5 and Halo Infinite are still pretty well played, and we just probably sick of them for having played them both for 20 years. But
I think Gears 5 was incredible. I love that game.
Okay.
But I also don't have the long-running history and have played, 1, 2, and 3 for thousands of hours like I have Halo. Like, my opinions on Halo is much stronger than they will ever be on Gears.
Yeah, no, maybe it's my limited perspective, but Gears 1 was like a thing that happened, and Gears 2 was a good follow-up, and Gears 3 was a great big success. 4 and 5 seemed to have been things that occurred in the world, but also didn't make a splash in any sort of gaming. Like, Gears 1, that changed gaming in a lot of ways. Like, third-person shooters became a thing after Gears 1. Like, cover systems all of a sudden became things. Active reload became a thing. Like,
chainsaws on guns.
Yeah. Chainsaws on guns. Like, everything was huge and big and awesome. And then, but Gears 4 and 5 have done fine, I guess, but I don't know if it's really mattered that much. That's all.
So that's very similar to another franchise that may contain Chewie, huh? Very similar.
No, this is not the place.
What do you mean?
I don't know what you're talking about. The sequels are the best trilogy of the franchise.
Episode 1 is the best.
If Nate's camera was on right now, I would be staring a hole through my skull.
This is not the place. Let's move on.
His camera's off because he's watching the entire trilogy.
He just has Rise of Skywalker on repeat.
Nobody does that. Nobody does.
Anyway, that was a good take, Chewie.
So we have a couple more responses, but I think we should probably skip them for this week. Maybe we can archive them and come back to that for the sake of time because we've been going on this for a while. We have a game showcase and whatnot to get to, but good question, Freem. That was a fun conversation. If anybody else has any more controversies, let us know. And like I said, maybe we'll bring that back up next week or sometime in the future. Or maybe we'll do a patron thing. What'd you say, El?
Oh, there's still a lot of responses left. I'd like to get to them maybe next week.
Yeah, we'll put a pin in this and come back to it because there's a couple more here that I can see they causing some debate on. All right, but either way, let's get into the gaming showcase. Nate, why don't you go first?
You're right.
Go first.
We have been talking about Halo for too long. Let's talk about a good game I played this week. So I was on vacation last week, so I wasn't on the show. So it was fun to listen and not already know what's going to happen on the episode. But when I'm at the beach, I don't get to play the really good games, the internet-based games, as we were talking about, the server-based games. So I have to play stuff that's, a little slower paced, a little more relaxed. So
just don't use quick
I was playing a game on Game Pass. I wasn't using Quick Resume.
good.
I was actually using xCloud to play Escape Academy.
Oh,
So this is a game on Game Pass and PC Game Pass, where you are essentially just solving puzzles. So I just played Myst because it's leaving Game Pass, and it's very much like Escape Academy, but more fun. Because it's a more recent game and it has a lot more of these smaller puzzles. So you are essentially a person who is learning to become a spy, and so you're going to this Escape Academy where you learn to solve these puzzles, break into things, hack into things, find clues, all sorts of stuff. And it's first person. You're moving around. All the puzzles are solvable. So there's no kind of weird, like, oh, wow, I don't understand. I can't really figure out how to connect this clue on this wall to the application of that problem. At least for me. Some other games you play them and you have the walkthrough, and it's very frustrating because the walkthrough will just say, oh, go over there and put in the code 54321. Right. But they don't tell you, well, number one, that's really easy. You're counting backwards from 5. But they don't tell you that the way you figured it out was looking in this book on this page and seeing, oh, there's this pattern that happens to be on the wall and there's 3 of them around the room. So clearly, it's page 3. And so the game does a really good job of being solvable. Every single puzzle that you go into has a time limit. And I found maybe 1 or 2 so far. I have not completed the game. I'm about halfway, maybe a little more than halfway through all the different puzzles that they have. And I only found 1 or 2 that I ran up against the time limit. Now, I did have one where I solved it with 40 seconds left. That was kind of exciting. But they are all doable. And I think that they found a good balance. They struck a good balance in terms of fun, not too difficult, but totally doable. Now, this game does support co-op. I think it might be local co-op. I'm not sure if it does
on my way
online. I don't know if local would make sense in this, but in either case, it does have some sort of co-op. You do need to do that for the achievements. There's an achievement for handing over 5 items. There's an achievement for completing a couple puzzles with a partner. And I guess that could be kind of fun if you're both into this type of game. And, saying one person can be on one side of the puzzle and say, oh, I found this. And, oh, cool, that actually relates to this. Or they could read off the clues to you as you are, manipulating an object on the other side. The game does a good job of having you pick up notes and take notes. And then when you're in a puzzle where you might need to refer back to that note, you can go into your inventory very easily by pressing Y. And then your inventory shows up on the left side of the screen in a very narrow border, and you can just kind of select down the thing you want and you can pin it. So you can pin that note to the screen while you're entering a code or trying to figure out what combination to put in, that sort of thing. It's a really fun game. I had a great time with this while I was at the beach. I came home, I played some more. I'm just taking my time with it. I have notes, I have pages of notes where I've been trying to solve puzzles and figure out codes and all sorts of fun stuff like that. I'm just having a great time with it. If you're into this type of game, into these sorts of puzzles, it's in Game Pass. It's free, if you already pay for Game Pass. And it's a fun game. I'm having a great time with this. A great time. Especially, if you played Myst and you had an okay time with that, this is much more friendly and a better time. And I think it's, graphically, it makes more sense for a lot of people. It's just, it's great.
All right. This looks fun.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
You done the escape room thing?
I have not done an actual escape room.
Okay.
No.
I was wondering what the kind of core, because obviously that's a big inspiration for the game.
The very first room, I think, takes that kind of a path. It's more like an escape room in that very first room. After that, they become just kind of puzzles that you're trying to solve.
Okay.
Escape from the game. That actually kind of sounds interesting.
I mean, don't worry about Game Pass because Proulx and Kenny are going to buy the physical version of this because they do not like digital games. And they like.
Does this have it does not have a physical version. Get out of here with this nonsense.
Complete it now because it'll be gone in 10 years.
No, it's digital only. TA has a completion estimate of 1 to 2 hours. That's obviously for using a guide.
I was just about to ask about that.
I spent way more than that. TA says I've played for 5.5 hours. I'm about halfway through it. I got to a place where I was stuck a little bit, and I just needed a tiny hint. The game does have a hint system, so you can press X and it'll bring up a hint. I think it's kind of, there's multiple per puzzle, so it'll be like, oh, you're on this step, so I'll bring up this particular clue. It doesn't then give you like the next level of that clue. If that clue doesn't help you, you might have to go on the internet. And then once you get past that part of the puzzle, you get on the next part of the main puzzle. Then yeah, the clues help after that.
All right.
So yeah, it's a really well done game for $20 game. Oh, I should mention, because people are very upset about Boyfriend Dungeon releasing DLC right when the thing leaves Game Pass. There are at least 2 DLCs planned for this game. One this year, one next year.
Whoa.
I think. So
Just can't escape.
So they may. I think they're supposed to be free. I'm not sure. I have to look into that. But if you were upset by Boyfriend Dungeon and their DLC, or which actually was a title,
and you're a fool.
You might want to take that into consideration on whether or not you want to play this game, and is it worth your money to get the base game and potentially pay for DLC. And in my opinion, I think it's worth it.
I was upset by Boyfriend Dungeon. I'll raise my hand and admit to that, because that was that felt pretty shady in my opinion.
Yeah, I decided not to do that game. It was for the shutdown. I was like, okay, it's leaving Game Pass. I'm not prioritizing this. I'm not going to start it. So I didn't get burned.
I liked the game, but that's neither here nor there. But
it is both very shady and also gamers are whining and entitled. So both.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's a controversial take.
Escape Academy. I really recommend this game if you're into these types of puzzles. It's a solid game.
All right. I'm just going to continue to bounce all around. I want to hear about Proulx's game. I'm very interested in this game as is. So tell me about this game.
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of working on my completion percentage. So I like to go back and play older games and get them done. And this is not that old of a game, really. But I was one of the things that I like to participate in is the BCM competition, and I love to do the random game. I love doing. I love to just pick a game for me, and I'll do it. Unless there's some crazy, if it's like a 500-hour grind, or if it's like, something really challenging, I'm like, maybe I'll save it for some other time. But I really struggled because the game that was picked for me the first time, I was like, nah, reroll. And then it was something else, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Reroll. So I finally got to Nexamon Dungeon. Wait, no, sorry. Nexamon Extinction is what I forgot the name of the game. And Nexamon is a very blatant, very obvious Pokemon ripoff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's literally in the name. It's not hard to find it. So I've been playing a lot of that. The problem so I played the game naturally when I first bought it. When it first came out in 2020, I think is what it was. But you have to beat all of the trainers in the world. It's just like Pokemon. It's a 2D turn-based monster collecting game. And so when I originally played it through, I just played through the game, and there's an achievement for beating every trainer that's a NPC in the world that has these creatures once, and then beating them all twice. You cannot do that at the same time, of course, because you won't have known who you played before and not. So when I was playing through it originally, I kind of lost track of who I had beaten at least once and who I had not beaten twice, and it was really kind of a cluster. It was really frustrating. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it, and I'll come back to it. And that's what I'm doing now, and I'm trying to complete it. I have now gotten that complete every trainer in the world twice achievement, and I'm just working on cleanup at this point. But it is just a Pokemon ripoff, and by that I mean like it's literally like a GBA Pokemon game. It's like this is like Sapphire or Ruby, Sapphire, not Crystal, but Emerald. It is fine, I guess, but like a lot of the designs are really lazy or easy or it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. For a Pokemon ripoff game, it's fine. But it's like it's tough when you're like a fan of that franchise to get into this sort of stuff.
I was gonna say, telling me that they ripped off Ruby and Sapphire only makes me want to play this game a little bit more.
I mean,
I love Gen 3.
In terms of like the story, in terms of like the graphics, like this doesn't do anything. It's not. I think it's $20 is what they ask for Nexamon.
Yeah,
it's a lot in this day and age. I think it is a bigger game. To be fair, by the end of it, I'll probably have played it for 75 hours, I'd guess. But that's a lot of it was just searching for those stupid trainers. No, not it took 3 years to do this, but it is fine. It feels a lot like again like a cheaper Kmart version of Golden Sun. That era, that 16-bit era of turn-based role-playing games, and it's fine. It is fine, but it is. If you're looking for a Pokemon type game that you can get achievements for, well, here you go. That's what this is.
Well, let me ask this: how many are they called Nexamons?
They are. Yes, they are called Nexamon. Yep.
Okay, I figure as much being a complete ripoff. How many Nexamons are there?
So here's the thing, Foof. Like I know you like Pokemon, right?
Yep.
Pokemon have Pokeballs, right?
Right.
Which are round.
I think I know where this is going.
Nexamon have Nexo traps, but those are triangles.
Oh.
So it's very innovative,
Completely
like
different.
how like they handle this sort of thing. So originally in the game, I think it was 300 and some odd. But
wow.
Through an update, 46 were added, so now it's over 400. And
wow,
they're fine. Again, we talked a little bit about Nintendo before, but Nintendo does have some magic sometimes, where it's like they definitely stand head and shoulders above these sorts of copycat games. You'll never find a kart racer that's as good as Mario Kart. Crash Bandicoot is like, I think maybe a third as good as Mario Kart. There's my hot take for you.
I think you said that wrong. Garfield? It's like 3 times better than Mario Kart.
But same sort of thing with Pokemon. Like it's not like there's some magic sauce that they use that like makes those designs really, really effective and like something you want to catch a Pikachu and you want to snuggle a Bulbasaur or whatever. These are not that. But it's fine. It's actually a really solid, serviceable game. And I know the second game, Nexamon, just Nexamon, the first game, has also come to Xbox at this point. And I'm sure I'll play that next. But Nexamon Evolution, $20 for a pretty decent Pokemon ripoff. Not bad.
Is there a Nexodex?
It's called a database. It's called a database. It's not. It's not clever in any way. Yeah. Although that's actually really smart. They should have called it that. But no.
It's also just fun saying Nexodex. Oh man, I like Pokemon. So when this came out, this has kind of been on my radar. But I honestly kind of forgot about it. Come to Game Pass, please. I don't want to buy you.
Yeah, but you like Pokemon ripoffs.
I like physical copies.
No, I wasn't going to say that. I was going to say you like Pokemon ripoffs like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh's not?
Digimon came out before Pokemon.
It did?
Old man's going to old man.
I don't know.
I like my animes. All right. Yeah, that was Nexamon. I guess I will go next. Unless you want to go next, Al. You just gave me a face. Do you want to go next?
No.
All right. Game I'm going to talk about is 2 Point Campus. This game came out last Tuesday, I think, or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think it came out 2 weeks ago. August 9th, whatever that is in time. I don't know anymore. 2 Point Campus is not a sequel, but it's just like another game to the 2 Point-iverse games. If you play 2 Point Hospital, this is very much the same game. And forgive me if I make lots of references to 2 Point Hospital, but they share a lot of similarities. I will say one thing though. I played 2 Point Hospital. I like 2 Point Hospital, but I did not get into it nearly as much as I have gotten into this one. I like this much more, even though I have not put, a ton of time into it. I put about 7 hours into it so far. 2 Point Campus is basically, it's a simulation management game. 2 words that Nate absolutely loved to hear when describing a genre of a game. But 2 Point Campus, you are managing a college course, and similar to like 2 Point Hospital, where in hospital there was like a goofy disease like light bulb head or whatever, you would have to have a specific room built up in your building that had specialized gear to cure them, and then you had to have a doctor that was a specialist in that disease to work the equipment to cure the person. In 2 Point Campus, you need to have a classroom with the specialized gear and equipment to teach your students as they come in for that course. You need to have teachers that specialize in whatever that course may be. And as you go through the game, different courses open up. They're all like goofy classes. It's very, very lighthearted. There's dumb jokes, silly, immature jokes throughout the game. And nothing is serious at all.
That sounds like Community, the game.
I know that's a show. I don't understand that.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Just wait till the movie comes out. We're not far now, so.
I did not even know there was a movie coming out. I have a lot of people screaming at me right now. I know I do. Yeah, 2 Point Campus, like I said, it's a management game, and the other things that you have to manage, not just necessarily the courses, but because in this game, as opposed to hospital, the people when they come in, they have to actually live there and they have to stay there because it's a college. So you build up dormitories so that for them to stay in. You need to make sure that all their needs are met. They hunger, their energy, places for them to sleep. Gets to the point in the game where they might get chilly, so you have to build like radiators or whatever. All kinds of different things like that. And like I said, where it's kind of goofy, they have different items that can help increase attractiveness in certain areas, or certain students would want certain things because they're like the goth student and they want all of like the bat posters and the gothy type decor. Then you might have like students taking the clown course and they want more jovial type stuff. It's a management game. There's not a whole lot to say outside of that. I do want to offer up one point of advice on the game. If this is something that you want to start, I know there's a lot of people that enjoy 2 Point Hospital, and if you're looking to start this, there were 2 types of currency in the game, at least so far. I've done the first 3 campuses. I know there are, looking at the achievements anyway, there's like 13 different campuses. But as of right now, there are 2 types of currencies. You have cash, which when you go to each campus, whatever money that you build up there stays with that campus. So if you have $1 million in this one, when you go to the next one, you might only have 300,000 or whatever. But there is another currency. I think it's called Kadosh or Kadoosh. I might be pronouncing that wrong. Not like something I would do. That, however, is used to unlock items. And then once you unlock that item, then you can purchase it and do whatever it is that you want with it. Now, there's a lot of students that they want specific things to either help them with their grades so that they do better and your college does better and you get more rewards from it, or they just want that in their college just because they like that item. Kadosh is more difficult to come by, as you may imagine. One of the things that 2 Point points out, but doesn't do a real good job by it, and I even missed it for a long time, is there is a spot where you can see all your career goals that And these different career goals might be picking up for X amount of trash. It might be for getting certain medals or training up, training up students in certain classes. And after you get X amount, you unlock some Kadoosh. You actually need to claim those rewards. It doesn't actually say that, and it doesn't make it extremely obvious. And I know when I was actually looking this up online that there's lots of people like myself who just didn't know you actually had to claim those rewards. So just a little tidbit there for anyone that wants to play this.
Question.
Go for it.
Because 2 Point Hospital is a pretty everybody I think knows it's a big grind, right? Is
Yes.
2 Point Campus the same way, or like the achievements, or what?
So looking at the achievements and what TA says it's a 40 to 50 hour game. So nowhere near the grind of 2 Point Hospital, I believe. Looking at the achievements, nothing on them screams to me that, hey, you're going to be here for a really long time, or nothing on here screams to me of this is going to be a difficult completion if, like yourself, Proulx, if you want to actually complete the game. A lot of the achievements are something that you will just naturally get through playing, like developing friendships, earning Kadoosh, earning money. There's, Zoo Tycoon joking coming, but clean up 1,000 bits of litter.
Oh,
Like-
all right.
Oh,
Can you run around
God.
campus and get your
Give this man a golf
get
cart.
your calves real good? Yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff. Like you'll just naturally get those. I guess the quote unquote harder achievements might be like earn 36 stars across your career. I imagine, and like I said, I don't know for sure because I haven't gotten far enough into the game to see everything, but I would just guess that there are 13 campuses and you must get 3 stars on all of them. The campuses that I've played so far, it's not difficult to get 3 stars. It just takes a little know-how. And as long as you are familiar with management games, this is something you'll be able to do. No problem. Like, in rating the management game, like if this is your first management game, like you've never played one before, I don't necessarily recommend starting with this, as there are a lot of systems. And me playing on the Xbox, the controls aren't terrible, but they're a little janky. It's not super intuitive. Whereas I bet if you played this on a computer, it'd be no problem. So, but at the same token, on the opposite side of the scale, I would not say that like you want to be a fan of the genre and be really good at management games before you play this, because it's not overly difficult either. This is This is a very friendly game, something that most people would probably enjoy, assuming you don't hate the genre outright. That is.
What is this genre called?
But, yeah. Huh?
What would you call this genre? The Sims genre?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very much like a Sims game. It's a simulation management game. And, like, I'd see that there is some sort of a 2 Point Hospital crossover. In one of the achievements, treat one case of each illness from 2 Point Hospital. So I imagine somewhere eventually sickness is introduced into the college campuses and you need to have, like, a nurse or something like that to cure them. And then I guess the illnesses come from 2 Point Hospital. Like I said, I have not gotten to that yet, but I am very much enjoying this game so far. This is another game that I would recommend playing on Nextcloud because it's not twitchy and it's a slower paced game. It works very well, and that's what I've been doing. And it's crossplay, so it works. My progress works from my Xbox to my XCloud. Oh, and it also works really well with Quick Resume. I haven't had any problems with that.
Well, you only have 2 achievements, so that's why.
False. I have 12.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just...
I have 12 out of 35. But 2 Point Campus. One other thing. As of right now, it has a 5 ratio on the game. There's 1,000 gamer score, so 5,000 TA. That will probably come down some because, like I said, it's not going to be super difficult. I imagine that has a Game Pass bump, so don't let that scare you off.
It's a recent addition, right?
Yes, it was this. As soon as the game launched, it went right into Game Pass. What is it? Yeah, August 9th is when it came out.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's published by Sega, but they don't do the Sega intro.
Sega does.
just a
Nintendo.
Mm.
Damn predatory. Nintendo. Unreal.
All right, but yeah, unless anyone has anything they would like to ask, that's all I got for 2 Point Campus. So if that, L, what game would you like to talk about this week?
Yeah, L.
Yeah, Al.
What game would you like to talk about this week?
I'm gonna stall for a little bit. This month on True Achievements, the targets were for open world, and on my RTDL, I just happened to get Saints Row 4, Grand Theft Auto 4, Batman Arkham Asylum, and Watch Dogs. So first, I'm going to talk real quick about Batman Arkham Asylum, and I'll leave it to me to be playing the game from 2009. But right before recording,
It's still good.
I got the Flawless Free Flow Fighter FuFuCuddilyPoof achievement. Say that 10 times fast.
I'm sorry,
Flawless Free Flow Foo Fighters. Flawless Free Flow Fighter for completing one challenge.
I have no idea what that one
The
is.
one for completing one of the, speaking of the combat challenges without taking damage. So it's funny because Batman's ratios, like if you're beating the game, is like a 1.2, but this one was a 1.8. And it's just completing one challenge without taking damage. So the solution is like, all right, you got to do this takedown, and you got to know how to hit B to do this cape stun, and you got to do this and that. All I did was hit Y to counter when you see the Spidey sense.
Yep.
And then I just rolled away, and I just kept doing that over and over, and it worked fine.
Yep, that's what I did.
And I did run into the lasers a few times, so that doesn't count as taking damage. So yeah, it took me maybe 8 to 10 tries. It didn't take me overly long. This game, unfortunately, a year or two back, I was finally going through the campaign, and one of the achievements glitched on me. One of the stories.
Was it on quick resume?
Sucks.
There it is.
Just asking. Just asking questions.
Yes, it was on the 360 quick resume. It was so weird. Like the achievement popped, and then you hit guide, and then it's gone. It's not there. But the game resumed as if you were there. So I felt a little deflated. I guess I could keep going and hope that the investigations team doesn't think I am hacking things and skipping achievements. But I'll probably wind up starting over.
Have you beat the story yet?
Are you listening to me?
No, I'm sorry. I was reading your achievement. If you said that, my bad. I missed you say
I
that.
had a whole speech about it. My achievement got eaten.
I heard you say that you missed something.
I missed an
but
achievement glitched, so I never finished the story because I got deflated. So
I missed that part. Sorry.
Yeah. So I wound up getting 2 achievements on my RTDL, and the first one was a low ratio, so I just re-rolled it, and it wound up being a late game achievement. That was like a 1.18 or 1.2 ratio. But this was a nice, healthy 1.8. And as you always say, this game still looks really good. It's ridiculous.
It does. It is a great looking game.
It's 2009.
Especially for something that came out in 2009.
Shocked looking at it.
Yeah.
And there is a 1 version.
It looks so good.
So that's one thing I was going to talk about. The second thing I was going to talk about is Watch Dogs. And that showed up on my RTDL, and it had to be a 3 ratio or more for my scavenger. So I'm like, you know what? The first thing that shows up is the 10 online races. And for the online, I guess you can find a boosting partner, but I wound up just playing for realsies. It's always fun to see these old games, and by old I mean this is 2014 already. Wow, this is pretty old, 8 years. And to see people just still messing around and playing online in the races. So for that achievement, you just have to complete 10 races. You don't have to win. But if you don't win and the person finishes first, you have 30 seconds to finish the race. So you just have to finish for it to count. So I wound up doing that one. And then there's another mode called online tailing, which I thought was really clever. So basically, you wind up, you choose to go into a tailing session, and you wind up going in someone else's game who's playing, and they don't know you're in their game. And they have to decipher, just by normal playing, if you're a bad guy or not, basically. So if they hit X to observe you, then you lose. You just have to follow them around for like 100 seconds, and then you got to do 10 of those. And then there's one more mode called hacking, online hacking, where you find someone, you hold X to hack, and then you kind of run away, and they do get alerted for you hacking. And then they have to find you and kill you, basically. And you have to just hide. So I'm happy to say that I did all 3 of these legit. And it basically took me the entire day.
Nice.
And I don't trust Ubisoft's servers anymore, so I just wanted to get these done. And I have been talking with someone else on this panel about doing the online for a long time now.
All right. Well, a little bit of backstory, because Elle's not telling the whole thing. Because as I mentioned before, I have been working on older games completion percentage, and so I don't know when it was now. It feels like it's been years at this point, but probably not. Maybe very early in this year, I started working on Watch Dogs stuff. And I was just happily making my way through Watch Dogs. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I'll just complete Watch Dogs on my own timeline. I won't be restricted. It'll be really nice. And then I got a message from Elle saying, oh, you doing Watch Dogs deal? Are you doing Watch Dogs multiplayer stuff? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Do you want to do it together? Like, we can totally do it together. And so he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then 4 months go by and I never hear from him. And then another 8 months go by and I never hear from him. And then 12 months go. And I mention it to him periodically, of course. I'm like, Elle, let's do this. I'm ready. I'm like, that's the stuff I have left. I've completed all the story stuff. I'm ready to do Watch Dogs multiplayer stuff. Finally, he gets it on his RTDL. So I did help him a little bit. With it. But yeah, all I have left is the DLC multiplayer stuff at this point. But it is interesting, like he says. The modes that they came up with were kind of clever. I remember playing through the single player and like getting invaded and stuff, and it's like it's half annoying but also half interesting to like kind of like, oh, you're gonna go do this mission. But then you get interrupted by someone who's just in your game all of a sudden. And you're like, you have to find them. And you get panicked. Like, you're like, oh my God, there's someone nearby. They're like within 50 meters of me or whatever. And I have to find them. Like, it feels compelling to do that sort of stuff. But, yeah, Watch Dogs is an interesting game. But, anyways.
Yeah, I feel like it was pretty well hated, but I find it fun. I don't know.
A lot of people either loved or hated that game.
And I'm pretty sure you could turn off the online capability so you don't get annoyed by people. But
well, if you play it from Quick Resume, they definitely can't invade your game. So
just for that, I'm going to ask you a question. I saw you playing another open world game earlier that you probably spent $100 on, and I need to know if it's any good.
Are you talking about the new release this week?
Yes,
is that what you're?
You did not. You're not playing that.
So, in fact, I was actually debating whether or not to bring this up or not.
Well, if you were on every week, I would let you get a little more into it, but I need to know now what your hot take is.
Okay, I will tell you right now that I've played it for less than an hour.
Tell everyone what game it is.
It is Saints Row, not Saints Row 2006, which it's now called, but this is the newly released, like as of recording today. It is, okay, again, 45 minutes in, so forgive me if this, it is not good. Really, really not good.
Wow.
Oh boy. How do I even describe how weird this game is? It is.
I don't want to hear that.
I'm sorry. Maybe it's better than I know. Maybe it will get good at some point. But it is glitchy and sloppy and weird. I don't know. again, very, very, very early on, 45 minutes in, so I cannot
So what
express that
possessed
enough.
you to buy this at launch?
So this long time, as Zed listeners know, I've been playing all 18 versions of Saints Row 4 with Crandy,
Right.
and he wants the series completion, so I'll hop on to help him to do this. So we've been playing. So we decided to play Saints Row. I can tell you a couple of things about this. Again,
All right. So you're
45
playing with
minutes
him.
in. Yes, we're playing together.
Okay.
In co-op.
I was just about to ask that.
I'm glad.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
I thought you were playing by yourself for some reason. That.
No. I would not pick up this. I wouldn't play this on man. You can be nude in this game, just like Saints Row 4.
Yay.
You can
Rose.
you
Can.
you can cancel out the pixelating stuff as well, so you can actually
Okay.
be nude,
Okay.
unlike Saints Row 4. I don't know. I can't. Again, 45 minutes in is really tough to gauge a game on. But for example, we were okay. So we were running. We were not running. We were driving down
Flopping
the
around.
road.
Oh yes.
Yeah, no, it's not like Saints Row 4. This is much more like Saints Row 1 or 2. We were driving down the road, and a car pulled in front, and we hit it, and the car that we hit bounced off of us, and there was no, like, damage on our car. There was no, like, collision thing. The animations are all really wonky. I don't know how much we want to get into this again, because I'm so
I love
early
it.
in the game, but
It's bad.
I don't think it's good.
Just a lot of these games. Start off bad, and maybe it'll get better. But yeah, this is happening a lot.
Well, not only that, not only could the game get better, but could also they patch it, and 6 months from now, this is a better game.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and it'll be $20.
It does not. Just doesn't have a good. Doesn't leave a good taste in the mouth this early on. That's all.
And sometimes games could be really glitchy and bad, and you end up liking them anyway. Skyrim. And this is what happens.
Oh, whoa! Is that a Skyway?
All right, now that's a controversial take that you're not allowed to have.
It's a rim. No, we won't say that.
Oh boy!
No, we are not going to talk. No, I'm not even going to do
We won't
it.
say
Yeah, let's get into sales. Since you know what, I don't even want to give it to him. Nate, what would you like to talk about? We're just going to go in order.
Sure. So Toy Odyssey, The Lost and the Found is $1.49, down from $15. This is a platformer. At one point in time, it was called a Metroidvania, or it was genred as Metroidvania. It no longer is. It contains procedurally generated rooms and base building, but pretty much every review I saw for it said it's kind of a Metroidvania, even though it does that. So, if you like Metroidvanias, but you don't need the genre tag, you might want to check this one out. Next up is Moon Hunters, also $1.49, down from $15. It's an action game with 4-person or 4-player local co-op. It's kind of got like a Groundhog Day thing going on. You every time you play the game, you play as a new character, and you play through to the end of the game, which takes about an hour, according to a review or two I read. So it's very interesting. It's very different, and it's $1.50. So I'm gonna check that one out.
Cool. What games do you want to recommend?
Check it out. Yeah, so while we're on the topic of Batman Arkham Asylum, this deal comes along every so often, and I still never believe that it's real. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City together for $5. Just if for some reason you never played these, or if you don't have them, that seems like a pretty good price. And then the BioShock collection for $10 for 3 games also just happens from time to time. I mean, there are people that shall remain nameless that probably paid $100 for this, maybe physical copy. $10 for all 3.
Wait, $100 for what?
The BioShock Remastered Trilogy. Proulx got the special.
That sounds expensive.
You got the Little Sister edition. It comes with an actual little sister that you have to take care of.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Well, this is what happens. Don't get that one.
All right. And Proulx, what games do you want to recommend?
So I'm going to just, this is actually not a game, but I'm going to let everybody know that both the Xbox and the PC Fallout 4 Season Passes are on sale. I went back myself probably 3 or 4 months ago to finish those off, and you get a tremendous amount of content for that. It was Fallout 4 is one of those games I picked up when it came out, and then played through the game and really enjoyed it, but I would wait for this sort of thing for a season pass to go on sale, and you get all of that content for $15 or whatever. And
wow,
yeah, no, it's really good. It's good stuff. And of course, these games are now in Game Pass, but you still need to, if you want to complete Fallout 4, you would need the season pass for either and or both the Xbox version. So there you go. I also wanted to recommend Skyrim, the Legendary Edition on PC, because I am actually curious if anybody, I mean, I love Skyrim and the Bethesda games, all, probably the best things to ever come out of Maryland, for sure.
I take offense.
Well, that's because you're on the wrong side of the tracks, as we say here in Virginia. But I was also curious, just because I'm curious, Skyrim, it's so weird. Anybody that wanted to own Skyrim for the past 15 years at this point could have done so through Steam or Xbox or PlayStation or whatever. And now they can own it through Game Pass. Is there anybody out there that is kind of interested in Skyrim, but is waiting for a deal on Skyrim for PC on Windows? And if they do, if there's the one person that I can commit to buying this game, you wouldn't need it, Al. You have Game Pass. You wouldn't need it. I'm saying, is there anybody out there who doesn't have Game Pass, who's never bought Skyrim, who's never played Skyrim, who wants to play a PC game that's awesome? I'm just saying, this is a thing that exists. I don't know why. I don't think there's anybody in the world that needs this deal. But I want to find, if there is one who needs this deal, I want to know about it. So that's all I'm saying.
And if you are listening to this and you are that one person, I recommend not buying it on PC, because the PC version is trash. It crashes all the time.
Oh, I didn't have any problems with it, but
lucky you.
Yeah, maybe.
I played it on 2 different computers. I played it on my laptop and my actual desktop, and I keep losing progress. And I knew those
Don't
games.
say it.
Have you turned quick resume?
Yeah.
I paused so you can make the joke. I know those games are the type of games where you want to save frequently, and I do. But at the same time, it's really annoying where it's like, oh, I haven't saved in 20 minutes. Go do that all over again. And I've stopped playing the PC version of Skyrim as much as I would like to play through it again and complete it for a third time. The losing the progress and the crashing drives me nuts. I don't know if there's a patch or something that I don't have, or a mod I can get to stabilize it, but it just crashes on me consistently. And if you're listening to this and you know that, please let me know. But either way, I still say buy it on Xbox instead. Other things that you don't need to buy. Okay.
I was going to say, it looks like that game that X talked about last week, Tales of Arise. There's this super double ultimate edition that's $110 usually. I don't know why, but it's $55. It looks like it comes with 2 versions of the game, so a stack and every single bit of DLC ever. So if anyone was interested from last week, it's still $55, but that's the half price. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but that's
crazy.
It's so hard to buy games.
It really is,
because Game Pass and Games of Gold.
It really is, unless it's Saints Row. Then it's worth it.
But if you're like me and you don't really want to spend your money on games because you have too many to play as is, Scourgebringer is available Games of Gold until September 15th, and Monaco is available until the 31st. You can download those for free. And if you're doing a smart thing and just playing Xbox Game Pass games, We have 2 leaks that have come out of Gamescom. Probably more on that next week. But 2 games that will be coming to Game Pass: Lives of P.
Pinocchio.
Yeah, it's Pinocchio.
How could you not?
Is it?
How could you not gather that by
Well,
the
it's yeah.
Do we know it's Pinocchio? Because his nose doesn't grow at all during any of the stuff that I've watched.
Well, I mean, the creator said it's based on Pinocchio, and you play as Pinocchio, and there's,
Pinocchio.
too many crickets in your back pocket, apparently. So
he's got a metal arm, so I guess he's like Winter Soldier, maybe? I don't know, but he doesn't... did his nose ever grow? That's like the one thing you know Pinocchio for, right?
Right. That and something with a whale.
it's like his special move.
With a
Yeah.
whale.
I haven't watched Pinocchio in like 25 years, man. I don't know that story. I know Pinocchio because of Kingdom Hearts.
Great movie.
Something else that has been a leak / rumor from Gamescom is you suck at parking.
Well, you're from Maryland. I promise you suck at parking worse.
Oh. We're very bad at, traveling or passing in the left lane and getting right back over. We don't do that. We should, but we don't.
But either way, things that are available on Game Pass right now, if you are listening to us, Midnight Fight Express, so cloud console and PC. Death Stranding, a big one. Big gift coming to Game Pass. But that's only on the PC side.
Is it too late to do hot takes about how I don't care about Kojima games?
I don't care either, but I want to play it. I want to play it just to get an achievement.
I don't know if I want to play like the FedEx.
This is the weird baby one, right?
Simulator.
But it's
right. This is the weird one.
But it's genre defining.
Is this the weird Kojima game? Is that a serious question?
I thought it was a solid question.
Hey,
I want to. Part of me wants to try it, just because of how many WTF moments I had watching the trailers. But then other parts of me just know that I'm going to play this for 2 hours and immediately put it down and not like it.
how much? How much do we have to pay to trade this for Spider-Man? That's what I want to know.
Oh my gosh,
right?
That'd be so good.
For real though, especially when Microsoft paid $600,000 to get Cooking Simulator. How about we put some of that money in there and get Spider-Man?
I would take the day off. I would honestly take the day off from work to play a video game. That I would totally do that.
But you work from home. Never mind.
Yeah, well, yeah. But then I wouldn't have to answer any instant messages.
I see.
2 other games that are available now is Exapunks on the PC and Opus Echo of Starsong, the Full Bloom edition, is available on console and PC. Coming August 30th is Commandos 3 HD Remaster, Immortality, Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Oh, that's a good game.
I think I've heard about that. And Tinykin. All those are coming on the 30th. And then, once again, leaving Game Pass are a lot of heavy hitters. Remember, you can save 20% on your purchase if you buy it now. Hint, hint. Elite Dangerous, Hades, Myst, NBA 2K22, Signs of the Sojourner, Spiritfarer, 12 Minutes, 2 Point Hospital, What Remains of Edith Finch, and World War Z. Get them now while you can.
I know a certain panelist that did the Myst speedrun recently that doesn't want to talk about it right now, but needs to give us some hints, because I helped Michelle do this game when it first came to Game Pass.
Gotta go
and now
fast.
that it's leaving, I want to get it on my tag. She did it with the controller, but I know it took many, many, many tries.
I tried it with the controller and I was not loving it. I also didn't know when the achievement was supposed to pop. It pops right after you click on the book in the fireplace.
Okay. Whoa, so spoilers, dude. Are you kidding?
Sorry.
I mean, there's a book.
There's a book.
It's
okay.
It's
there's a
right
fireplace.
next to your Elite controller in the fire.
Man,
Uh,
that's a better joke than I was going to make.
So you have to click on a book in a fireplace after solving a puzzle. And the problem with the puzzle is that it requires a lot of clicks, and it's very hard to do on the controller because even if you use the D-pad, sometimes the clicks don't register or they click and then they unclick. It's very frustrating. So I installed it on my PC just for the speedrun part. Got that done. Took about 2 tries on the PC. I did about 5, maybe 6 tries on the Xbox with the controller and just was not loving it. So I did the speedrun very quickly on the PC, 2 runs. I would say I didn't try to hook up my keyboard and mouse to my Xbox. I know that's a thing. You could also try on xCloud, but it is totally doable with keyboard and mouse. It's not bad.
How did you run?
Just because of that clicking for the most part.
Did you actually use like W and AXD to move for the
Yeah, you use WASD if you're a MMO player. You're very familiar with those controls, or a first-person shooter on the PC. Now I was playing with a trackball, so that's not as fast as a mouse, but it is better for your wrist. So I did it on a trackball, so it was a little bit weird, but it was still doable.
I see.
All right. Well, with that takes us to our final segment, which is Brag Camp. And we will start with Proulx.
yeah, I guess I'm doing completions here. Because
your name is next to him.
I've talked about too. Also, how much I love working on completion percentage. So I'm going to give kudos to all these people. Lord Zell reached a new milestone of 150 completed games. Black Buff is at 300 completed games. Bastion Reader 550 completed games. Blue Thunder 700 completed games. Alicia, I think, is that right? 850.
Alicia.
Yeah, completed games. Mr. Mango, I know that guy. I used to chat with him from time to time. 950 completed games. And Redemption Denied, of course, is at an absurd 2,700 completed games. So
That is ridiculous, man.
In streaks, Domain is currently on 150 days. iMike Zero with 350. Survivalist with 400. Retro Chief 1969 with 600 days. And Bastion Reader has 1,700 days. Eldritch SS is currently on a 2-year achievement win streak anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
In gamer score, Katie has hit 250,000 gamer score. Jay Black has hit 500,000 gamer score. Chris Bud 20, 550,000. Bomber 37, 850,000. Enigma Gamer 77, 900,000. Mad Eye Pad Eye has hit 1.4 million gamer score. And Inferno 118 has hit 1.7 million gamer score.
In leaderboards, Bastion Reader is in the top 20 of the max possible completion percentage leaderboard for Xbox One shoot 'em ups. Cerebral Assassin is in the top 20 of the North Carolina True Achievement leaderboards for MMOs. Dave Bodoom is now in the top 50 of the TA leaderboard for Xbox One platformer. Luke 17,000 is now in the top 5,000 of the TA difference leaderboard. I think the difference between 17,000 and 5,000 will be 12,000. Duh. Noth
Not
the
bad.
God is now in the top 100 of the TA difference leaderboard. And
Nice.
some guy I bugged to friend the TA account, Jay Huns, who hangs out in the Vayner channel, just hit number 1 on TA in the max possible completion percentage of Metroidvanias.
Wow.
And he apparently hasn't played the 5 or 6 gimme thousands either. So yeah, he's in there all the time talking about Vayners.
Sounds like a true fan of Metroids.
In braggadocious brags, by 571, and presumably his nephew completed Taiko no Tachujin, the Drum Master. He was the 720th person to complete that. I'm sure he used some sort of something or other to grind that out. And
I doubt it. I think he's just that good. He didn't need it.
he is the drum master, I guess. And Philip Wendell actually tagged me, so he gets top billing. He completed Minecraft Dungeons. He was the 665th person to do that. I told him he should have been the 666th person to complete that because, of course, Minecraft Dungeons is the devil. That game. Ugh. But
I know nothing about that
not-
game. I had no idea that it was that
that is
difficult.
not a controversial. It
or
keeps coming
grindy.
out with new DLC. That's the problem.
Oh.
And each one
It's a Minecraft game.
worse than the next. Yep, it certainly is a Minecraft game. With no crafting and no...
As the name implies.
Not much crafting. But congratulations to everybody. Good work as usual.
All right. Well, that will do it for us this week. Before we get to all the outro crap, Proulx, is there anything else you would like to say and or plug before we get out of here?
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
There's 1,000 Star Trek things I'd like to inform all of your audience about that they would never have known about otherwise. No, of course. But if they did, or if they were interested, they could find me on Twitter. My handle there is OneUpDan. I talk lots of things Pokemon, lots of things Star Trek, lots of things achievements. So, in fact, my latest tweet was an angry tweet at the developer of Boyfriend Dungeon because it was real convenient that their stupid DLC came out the same day the game left Game Pass. I'm very salty about that. But anyways, they can find me there.
Now, you won't buy Boyfriend Dungeon, but you'll buy Saints Row.
Different things. But I did buy Saints Row physical, so I think Foof will appreciate that at least.
I appreciate it too. So you can send it to me when you're done. So, Little Birdie told me you can get a Boyfriend Dungeon from a certain other place that begins with an A for $2.
Yeah, whatever.
Just the Birdie told me that.
Well, if you like Star Trek so much, you should have like a show or something like that where you can talk about it all the time.
Yeah. Well, if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see that that's there as well. So,
all right.
What's it called again?
All right. Well,
Gray Bob. I don't remember.
Something like that.
I don't remember.
Something like that.
I don't remember.
I don't know. I subscribe to it, but I don't listen to it. I don't do Star Trek. I don't have 9,000 years to catch up on that. Too much.
Who gives a Spock? Just finish the show.
All right. But yes. All the outro bits. Be sure to follow and subscribe to us on Twitch at twitch.tv/AH101. Hey, Future Kenny, jumping in here real quick to say something that I forgot to say on the show. So, spooky season is fast approaching. That's September and October. And as such, I plan on doing a lot of streaming, specifically in the horror, spooky, scary, jump scare type games, whatever you want to call them. So the idea is to stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/AH101, every single Friday. Start time would be around 10 Eastern time-ish, give or take a couple of minutes. But either way, I want to do a spooky game. If you are a patron, you would have seen that I threw up a message in Discord to give me some game recommendations. That'll be every Friday night in September and October for spooky season. So be sure to check that out. That should be a lot of fun. I don't know quite yet what I will be streaming. More information will be coming in the Discord and on here when I get an idea. Just the two games I know for sure that I want to play is the first Resident Evil, the remastered version, and Layers of Fear. So that should be good. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah. We'll be going live there. Yeah, start the first Tuesday of every month to do a live show. We've been streaming As Dusk Falls every Thursday night. We'll be continuing with that this Thursday night, assuming everyone's schedule works out correct and we can play it. Speaking of Twitter, you can follow us on the Twitter, send us some Twitter tweets at Achievements101. join the Discord, be a part of the community, discord.io/AH101. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Achievements Hunting 101. And if you are able to, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Achievement Hunting 101. You'll be able to get into some patron only giveaways, get into patron VIP chat, all that kind of stuff. And then obviously we have a bunch of patron only content on our Patreon. But yeah, if you're able to, we would greatly appreciate your support.
Yay!
But with all that, class
I
is
think I'm starting a
dismissed.
new podcast.
See y'all next week.
Gears and Halo, about how wonderful the protagonists are. You gonna join me, Kenny?
Called Gears Low.
Gears Low. Lears. King Lears.
Let's do
I
it.
don't even know what's going on. All right, that was fun, guys. Thanks for joining us, Proulx.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.
It's Generation X. It's Generation X.
Xbox. Get Xbox. Xbox.
It's Generation X. I Gen X.
Get Xbox.
I Gen X.
Xbox.
I Gen
Get
X.
Xbox.
I Gen
Get
X.
Xbox.
I Gen
Get Xbox.
Welcome back, nostalgia-seeking Chivo Hunters, to the 7th edition of GenXbox, where two old fogies from Generation X sit around and compare some games you can earn some gamer score in with games that we grew up on. What did these new games do well, and where did they fall short? That's what this segment is all about. Joining me today is an individual who I haven't talked to in 6 months. It's Freaky.
It's been a long time, right? It's been a while. Yeah. Hello. How's your summer going? I know the teachers like to have the summertime off.
I swear that when we recorded in January, we talked about, man, it's been was it last summer when we were? So,
yeah, I know exactly.
I think this is a biannual segment here.
That's what I was looking for. The biannual, biannual segment. It's turned into. Yeah, well, I mean, moving and everything. I finally feel settled in the new place. House is going up for sale and everything, and that's actually closing on that next week. So that's going to be done with, and I'm not saying I have more time gaming, but new job and working, but I have a set schedule, so I fit everything in around hours I know I can game. So that's just how it is.
Well, hey, maybe we'll get back to. I'm sure we said this last time, but maybe we'll get back to a more regular schedule.
Right? Yeah, hopefully.
But if not, no worries. I was just kind of waiting for you to say, "Hey, let's do something."
And I know. You messaged me before, and you were like, "You're free," because what was it? G-Task ended. How did that? How did that end up for you? Pretty good, I assume.
Yeah. I went out on my own terms. I kind of bowed out in the quarterfinals for reasons not yet fully explained, but should be more obvious once the next one starts up. And
okay.
I have a very full storehouse. Let's just say that.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
I didn't catch my storehouse on fire and throw it all out on there just to make the finals. I didn't want to be the Buffalo Bills again.
Okay. I got you.
Yeah,
playing the long game here.
Yeah, playing the long game. That's it. So I'm pleased with it. So
all right, cool. Yeah, you're pleased with what you did. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah. Well, I have an update for you.
Oh, what's this update? I'm excited.
So here we go. So, I found a story that I thought would be of interest to you in this segment, and it was a news article that came out at the end of June, so it's only less than a week old at this point, and it was on whatculture.com. Now, I don't normally get on this website. In fact, I've never heard of it before, but
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, it just happened to pull up. I don't know, it just crossed paths with me. And the title of the article is 10 Video Games That Have Been Ported to Everything. All right, so these are games that have been ported to so many systems that you just kind of wonder how much cash that they made off this, just releasing the same game over and over and over again. So it has 10 games.
Okay.
Would you like to take a stab at any games that would
I'm
be
going to
on
say
this list?
Skyrim.
Yeah, Skyrim is actually number 10. I would have never guessed that because I do not know anything about that game.
Yeah, it's. I think it was on the 360. I know, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5. You know, so it's been on the last. I think they. You know, I don't know if they released a Series X PlayStation 5 exclusive just for this generation. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely Skyrim. I want to say one of the GTAs.
No.
That's okay.
Not on this list. You're gonna have to go old school at this point. That's kind of why I use this list for this segment, given the old school nature of it.
Okay.
That was pretty much the only.
That was the only new school. I would think.
One.
Yeah, I would think Skyrim and maybe like GTA 4 or 5. One of the recent ones also was on like the 360 and the One and.
Right.
Okay, old school. Let's see.
Just for comparison, number 9 has been on 19 different systems. So, and that's number 9. That's number 9. Yeah. So
I assume we're going cross play then. So it's been on like Nintendo, Xbox, Jaguar,
everything.
Everything.
Yeah,
okay, wow. So, I don't even know if my
some true classics.
If my classic. Okay, so how about Pac-Man?
Yes, Pac-Man is on the list. The way that this list is set up really badly, I believe it came in at number 4, but let me verify. Because I had the list pulled up to number 10, because I had no idea that you would actually guess number 10. That was in number 3. Number 3 is Pac-Man.
Okay.
It's been around for a while. It's been on 35 different systems. And there you go.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So Pac-Man. So now do they separate like Pac-Man and like Ms. Pac-Man, or is that?
It says it's not to mention all the spin-off games. So yeah.
Okay.
It's been on, so it's just Pac-Man itself. But that's the only Pac-Man entry.
Okay. So I will say because I've played this on the 360 and the Atari 2600. I'm going to go with Frogger.
No, Frogger did not make the list.
Frogger's not on there. It wasn't a popular one. Okay.
I think I played that on my iPhone too. But
yeah. It's. I mean, I'm surprised it's not up there. If number 9 has 19 systems.
Yeah, some hard hitters here, man.
Right. Okay, so Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. We'll go with another classic. No. Okay, so I've struck out twice here.
Yep, you got one more strike, man.
One more strike. Let me see here. And I know as soon as you say some of these names, I'm going to smack myself in the head.
Indeed, you will.
Right. Gosh, is it something as simple as like Pong?
I'm sorry, that would be 3 strikes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not good, man.
Am I even allowed to do this segment with you now? Is that?
Well, I mean, I don't know how official this list actually is. I just found it was kind of interesting, and I thought it was right in the wheelhouse of this one. And so number 9 was actually Final Fantasy.
So, yeah, of course, duh.
Yeah, 19 different systems there. Number 8 was Sonic the Hedgehog, over 20 different systems.
Yeah, I was never a big Sonic person, so that just was not even there.
Right. This one makes sense to me. Street Fighter 2. It seems like they've been releasing that for everything. But yeah. So number 7 was that, and then number 6 was Minecraft. I'm surprised you didn't get that one. Minecraft. Since it had it on everything known to man. I just completed like Minecraft on the 360. Like I should have totally got that one. Yep, I just finished Minecraft on my refrigerator, so yeah, it's all good. And then the real reason that I included this list, number 5, and I thought that you would for sure get this one. Number 5 is actually Lemmings. And Lemmings has been ported on 27 different things, including the SNES, the Master System, PlayStation, handheld consoles, Game Boy, Game Gear, some CD ones. Apparently it came out on the PS2. It used the iToy, which is basically a precursor to the Kinect, apparently. So, Lemmings, number 5. That's the whole reason I included this list. Yeah, it was that was really the only reason I included it, just to see if you would guess Lemmings. And then just to wrap it up, number 4 is Doom. That should be
Doom should have been an obvious one because it's been ported to like pregnancy tests and stuff like that.
Yeah, indeed. Number 2 I didn't really agree with. It's Dragon's Lair.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently it's on 50 different systems, so yeah, I guess so. Whatever. It's just finally getting on the Xbox. And the number 1 should be pretty obvious. It is, in fact, Tetris.
Oh,
Tetris.
Yep.
Yeah, I forget what they said, how many systems that thing's been on. Let's see. I don't know. 87 systems, it says.
Oof, jeez.
According to the 2010 Guinness Book of World Records. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a good list. It's a good list.
Yep.
Like I said, I am
there's your update.
Being put on the spot. I'm not very, I was very bad again.
Well,
I mean, I should have got Tetris.
Yeah, I
probably should have got
Lemmings, too.
Minecraft.
Yeah.
Everything else, would have been a shot in the dark for me.
Oh man, there you go. That was me just giving you crap about Lemmings. Yeah,
and Lemmings is fantastic. If you watch that video when I put in the Discord of why it reminded me of Lemmings, you'll understand.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of Lemmings,
I stand by my choice.
So, what did you bring? Dare I ask, what have you brought to the table this time?
Okay, so this week, and this is something because it takes. I'm very. Sometimes I'm a perfectionist. I don't know. With broforce and Lemmings, I'm kind of starting to get away from that. But this time, I was like, I wanted to really kind of have a game that when I'm playing it, it hits me. Oh, it reminds me of this game. And I did this week. I actually started it. I haven't finished it, but I started it this week, and it immediately reminded me of a game from early Xbox. So it's not quite a Gen Xer game, older than that. It was a 2008 release, but the game I was playing is called 10 Rooms, 10 Seconds. It is published by Radaleka.
Yeah, it is.
Developed by the Borg. And that's not Borg, but Borg with a W in there. And it was released early June 3rd, 2022, and it is actually the only game I have played that was released this year. So I found this gem and I started playing it, and oh my god, it is so fun. And I know there's a god mode, so you don't die, and I haven't actually used that yet to get all the achievements. I'm actually playing it legit right now.
What?
But,
no, you're not.
I am.
You're that guy?
Right
No,
now,
man.
I'm sure. As soon as we get off as soon as we stop recording, I'll pop on and then do God mode and then just roll right through it. But
yeah, don't be a hero.
Okay,
man.
so it's a platformer, and it's 10 rooms, 10 seconds. What it's I mean, I don't. I'm sure there's a story. I don't know what the story is. But so there's 10 floors, I guess, and each floor has 10 rooms, and you run through each room, and each room you have 30 seconds in each room, and the room is trying to kill you. And it's a very simple color scheme. It's very almost monochromatic. It's like gray and black, and then there's red enemies and gold coins. So anything that's red can kill you. You don't want to get hit by anything that's red, and you want to collect as many coins as you can, because coins is what you use to buy upgrades in between the floors. And I mean that, and it's as simple as that. That's what it is. It gets each floor. At the end of each floor, there's a boss, and you need to just survive long enough to. I mean, you don't really defeat the boss by doing any damage. You just survive long enough to not get killed by the boss, and then the boss, just dies or blows up for some reason or just malfunctions, and you go to the next floor. So, and then in between floors you can choose to upgrade. You have hearts, so you have, I think you start with 3 hearts, and I've upgraded to I have 4 hearts, but there's also an achievement where you need to have 100 coins, so I held off to upgrade so I could get that achievement. But yeah, no, it's very fast paced. It's platforming. You're running, jumping, climbing trees, getting out of saw blades and lasers, and it's very fun. And this game reminded me of N+. And have you played N+ on 360?
Well, not so much, because just this whole genre. Again, this is listed as a platformer, but we all know it's a plat failer. So it's the whole plat failer is not my cup of tea so much, but
Yeah.
I do like a good plat failer where you can enter a god mode and just walk
Just
through
roll
everything.
right through it. Yeah.
That is my kind of plat failer. So I did like this game, 10, but I did not. If it wasn't for that, I'm sure. Like right now, it's worth just 45 TAD.
Yeah,
I mean,
1045 on TA. So yeah,
Right.
exactly.
because of the god mode. And so if it wasn't for that god mode, I would speculate this game would oh god, this is a bear of a game, man.
Man. Yeah.
As I was going through it, I was like, there's no way. Like, it's like this would be so frustrating. And I mean, it would probably be, I don't know, at least 5-6 times that. It'd probably be like a 5,000 pointer, if I was guessing. I mean, it's not easy. And but to answer your initial question, no, M Plus is a plat failure. I stay away. No god mode.
Well, one of the good things about M Plus, in my opinion, is it's it could be a co-op plat failure.
Oh, really? So can someone do all the work for you, kind of thing?
No.
Oh, you actually
you still have to there's because what'll happen is so N Plus, it's very similar. You go through different rooms and you have a time limit in the room, and you collect coins the coins in N Plus increase your time limit, and you can get killed by any number of things: missiles and blades and mines and electric robots that wander around. And the N Plus, you only have like one, it's one hit, one kill. So you hit something that can kill you and you're dead. You don't have four hearts or anything like that. So that's one of the differences. But also, you have to, in every room, you have to run and activate a switch to open the door and then get to the door to get out of the room in M Plus. And then you go to the next room. In co-op, it's been a while since I played co-op, but in co-op, I don't know if every room is like this, but usually it's like separated. The room's in half, like one person's on one half of the room and one person's on the other half of the room. And one person has to activate the switch to open the door, and the other person has to open the door, or other person has to go in the door to get to the next level. And it is maddeningly frustrating when you're playing with somebody else. I would say it's almost as frustrating as what's that cooking game?
Overcooked. Yeah.
Overcooked. Yeah, I would say it's almost as frustrating as that when you're playing with somebody else. Like, oh my gosh, get me to chop the lettuce for me. Yeah. So, but it's. I mean, I find it fun. I know you don't find it fun.
No, not my thing, man.
A la like N Plus 10. Cuphead is another one I find fun that I'm not really that good at, but it's because if you die, you've lost 2 minutes of your life. You don't have to go back hours because you forgot to save or something like that. So
right.
you can come and you can piecemeal it out and do play it in chunks of half an hour if you want to come home and just you have something to do in between picking up the kids and going to the family barbecue or whatever.
Well, one thing I will say about 10 is I think there is actually a story to it. From what I could tell, I skip all the cutscenes, but from what I could tell, it had something to do with, like, they were spawning these humans, and, like, if you weren't the first one, maybe you were the 10th one. I don't know, but
maybe that would go in line with what their
right
shtick is.
Right, and so they kept spawning these individuals, and then they die, and then they spawn another one, and it get a little further or something. I don't know. I think it had something to do with that.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the end rooms and like talking to other clones of yourself,
Right.
I guess, and I was like, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah, so
yeah, like,
and,
you're trying to shoehorn these stories into a Ratalaika game, and it's not a visual novel. I mean, at least that's all story. It's
Right.
not angels with scaly wings, Come on.
oh God, yeah.
I just played that last week, also.
Oh yeah, do you feel dirty?
I feel a little. Oh, jeez. Oof. I had to take a cold shower.
Yeah. Enter the dragon. Yeah.
Such an underrated joke. So good.
But yeah, Well, one thing also about 10 is that all the achievements are not missable, so there's that. So that's nice. All you have to do, they're all progression. Beat the other something or another.
Beat the boss. Purchase your upgrade. Unlock all the entries in the bestiary, which I find odd that there's like saw blades in a bestiary, but it's basically everything that can kill you.
Right. Right.
I'm like, I don't think you understand what that word means.
Yeah, that's a legitimate point you bring. But yeah, you're not gonna like the gladiator achievement at the end unless you just restart using the God mode.
That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. I don't know if you can have more than one save, but yeah, I'll probably just restart and turn the God mode on and blow through it, because I know you have to get like an S ranking or something like that.
Yeah, well, actually, it's pretty forgiving, a C rank, but I don't know what that's based on in any way. But yeah, if you turn on God mode, you'll get it, I'm sure. So. Yeah.
And then there's really, and I was trying to find something that I didn't like about 10, and I was really I don't know, it was really difficult to find anything I really didn't like about it. It's it's simple in its playability and what it does. I mean, whatever, you can give or take a story in a game like this, but it does what it does, and as a Ratalaika game, it does, I think, what it does well. You're getting what you pay for, but it's definitely not. What's the Kung Fu one?
Enter the Dragon.
No, not Enter the Dragon.
Kung Fu one.
Iron. Iron Snout. Iron Snout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no Iron Snout, but I mean, I would say this is probably my second favorite Ratalaika game.
Oh, okay. Behind Iron Snout. That's good.
Behind Iron Snout. Yeah, definitely.
Of course. Yeah, awesome.
That
was perfection. It's hard to. I mean, that game defined the whole genre. So yeah.
Yeah, you cannot beat perfection.
Yeah, right. Well, cool, man. I think you nailed this. Also, one last note on 10 is, you know how like often the art, like they have the little art for the game. The art for that game actually matches the game. Like one of those things that always drives me crazy about the Ratalaika games is that they have like this awesome, like cool picture, and then the game has nothing to do with that picture. This one actually captures the chaos of the game.
Oh yeah, like the the color scheme, just the black, white, and the red, and the guys. Just, if you look at the guy's face, it's just like he's like, oh, gotta get out of here right now.
yeah. So well done on that. Whoever the artist was for that one, that's much better than some of the dribble I've seen. So
I wonder how they commission their artwork. Do they like just give the game to an artist and say, here, play this, and then draw?
I don't even think that they play it. Sometimes they just like they just look at the title and they're like, oh, okay, sounds like this.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, kind of like the Mega Man box art back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Had some weird dude in like a blue suit, and it had nothing to do with the game. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, and then a thing about N Plus that also you probably wouldn't play it, because the ratio on N Plus I think is 2.5, but it's an arcade game. It's a 200 pointer.
Oh, there's no in fact, I tried looking it up on True Achievements just to see, but I can't. I'm not smart enough to figure out how to search for a title that has one letter, or two letters, and then one of them is not an appropriate character. So
I think I had to look through my games. Because you have to put like at least 3 characters.
You have to put 3 characters, and it's only 2 characters, and it doesn't like one of them. Yeah,
can you do N plus space bar? Will it take that null character as a?
No, it just brings up everything starting with NA. So I see it does nothing different. You just enter an N and then space, and it does nothing. I have no idea how you're supposed to search for that game. So not that I have any interest in it, but there you go.
The good thing about that game also is all the achievements they're not missable. It's all, complete 30 episodes, complete 10 episodes, complete 30, complete 40, complete co-op episodes. I think there's one where you have to beat 10, you have to win 10 races in ranked online matches, which is actually still available. So Yeah, so everything.
Well, thank God, because I've just been chomping at the bit to get to it.
Well, it is, like I said, it is a it is a 2.5 ratio. So maybe I'll boost with you for GTASK next year.
Oh yeah,
your 250.
Oh wow,
Your 200.
That's a game changer right there. God. Oh man. All right. Well, let's see. All right. So let me tell you about my game here.
All right.
All right, so I'm going to take you through my thought process here. So I played this game, and then it reminded me of this old school game. And since we're old, sometimes you can't remember the freaking name of the dang game.
Oh, gosh, all the time.
All right, so that happened to me. So let me see if you can remember this name of the game before. I actually had to look it up, and it took me a second. So here you go. Let me kind of describe it for you. So you're in a car. And there's like multiple like levels to it. So like there's like an upper level, a middle level, and a lower level. Okay. And you have to like drive over all the pavement and turn it a certain color. And there's cop cars everywhere. And you're like throwing oil cans at them. And then once you drive over all the pavement, you move on to the next stage.
Okay.
Does this ring a bell to you?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't ring a bell at all.
Are you an audio type person? Because I'm not sure how much of this I can play, but I'll just kind of play it in the background here.
Okay.
So...
Oh, jeez. The audio sounds familiar, but I'm still like drawing a blank. It does. Oh.
All right. Well, okay. So I couldn't remember this game to save my life. For some reason, I kept thinking bump and jump. But it's not bump and jump. Bump and jump's completely different. So, and so I binged NES car games. So I binged it, and it was very fortunate. There was actually someone that puts together these lists. I don't know. It says best NES racing games, and so I just read it line by line. I was like, no, I know it's not that. It's not that. It's not that. And then it just jumped off the page at me. And it was actually the 9th one down. And it was City Connection.
Okay.
City Connection.
Never played City Connection.
Okay. All right. Well, it is a Jaleco game. If you remember good old Jaleco. And... it basically I've already kind of described what it is. It's like you're just driving along, and so it's like kind of checkerboard ground everywhere, and if you drive over it, it fills it in, kind of a thing. So you're creating like filled in pavement everywhere.
Okay.
And so you can jump. So you're driving along, and there's a cop car in front of you. You shoot an oil can at it, and then you can bump it off the screen. If you don't have any oil cans, you got to jump over it. And the higher the stage, the more cop cars appear, and and then the more the terrain gets a little weird, like where you have the first stage is pretty straightforward, where it's just stacked. It kind of looks like the same layout to like a Mappy, if you remember Mappy.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same layout, where you have like a hole in the middle, and then there's like 4 levels of pavement on both sides, kind of a thing. And so and then it loops. So if you just keep driving left, it just keeps repeating. So it just you go off this, it just keeps it continuous. So you don't like run into the end of the stage. It just keeps continuous. But and so you jump up levels, you fall down levels, you just cover the whole road. Your car could turn on a dime, man. I mean, this thing handles really well. It's like, I mean, you hit it right, and then all of a sudden it's like, I mean, you're going right. I mean, that was one of the cool things about the game, is the controls, is that it was real responsive. Of course, it had catchy upbeat tunes and everything. And then there's this stupid little critter that pops up in your path. All right, so you're driving along, and then there's like, I think it's a fox or a cat or something, and it's holding like a flag. And for whatever reason, if you ram into it, it goes into like slow-mo Matrix style, and the cat like flies off the screen, and it's like, it's like you've done the unthinkable. I mean, you're running away from cops, and so I assume you're a vigilante of some sort.
Yeah.
And but if you run over this critter, I mean, that's it. I mean,
so you're not supposed to run over the cat.
No, if you hit this critter, that's basically like you lose a life.
Okay.
And then the only other way to lose a life is if you touch a cop car without it being spinning in circles from getting hit by an oil can. So if you touch it, like if you jump on top of it, and yeah, that's kind of how the thing works. And so once you drive over a part of the road, then you beat the stage, you go into the next stage, and then different theme. It's like you're driving across the world. So I had a list pulled up of the different. Yeah, here it is. So you start in the United States in New York City, and then you move on to the UK, and then France, then Germany, Netherlands, blah blah blah. And so I don't think I ever made it further than the Netherlands. It's a tough game. It's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's known for its kind of difficulty, I guess. But
Yeah.
I was reading about it. I had no idea about this. I thought this was kind of interesting. The main character, the person inside the vehicle, apparently is a female named Clarice, and Clarice is credited as being one of the first female protagonists in a console game.
Okay.
And I thought that was interesting because I had no idea that, because on the NES version, they totally scrapped her, and it's just some generic dude that like flashing a peace sign. He looks like somebody out of Speed Racer or something like that. And so if you pull up the NES game, I was like, I don't remember Clarice, and I guess that's why, is because it was like some just generic forgettable dude in it. I mean, not that Clarice is. There's no story whatsoever. You're just driving. So, I mean, I don't know, whatever. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting, but whatever. So that's City Connection. I played it on the NES. I think it was in the arcade as well. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. So, you say you hadn't played this little Jaleco gem?
I have not. Although Jaleco, I think, did make one of my favorite baseball games ever, Bases Loaded.
Oh, I think they did do that one.
I think so. I love that game.
Man, I'm on it. Yeah, that's
the NES Bases Loaded, not the Bases Loaded 2 or Super Bases Loaded. Those were garbage. The first one was the best one.
Yeah, Bases Loaded. Yep. Yeah, didn't they get a little fancy in the later ones, like where they were trying to insert audio and all that stuff? I was always more of an RBI baseball guy, but yeah, that's a good one though. I like that one.
Yeah, bases. Yeah, I like that. I haven't played modern sports games besides for achievements for fun at all. So all the old sports games are the best.
Yeah. Oh man, one of my favorite baseball games. What is it called? Here it is. I had to look it up real quick. Is actually on the SNES. It was Super Bases Loaded. Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you ever play that? Ryan Sandberg, Super Bases Loaded?
I'm sure I did play it, but I don't think I liked it more than the Bases Loaded. The Bases Loaded is the one I originally remember playing with, like the old school bombers. Like I would just hit home runs all day long.
Yeah, but you might if you got an SNES, you should check it out. It has really pretty nice controls, if I remember. I remember thinking, man, I like the controls on this game. Anyway, so. I'm not like a huge baseball game person, but whatever. All right, so I've laid the groundwork for City Connection. So here's the modern day version. Now I really like this game, and this is the best it could to remind me of something. So the modern day version is called Splash Cars.
Okay.
All right, so Splash Cars came out a couple months ago. It's an East Asia soft, so we're just really hitting all the big AAA releases this segment. We got a rat in the East Asia game.
I mean, I'm assuming they're in the running for Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, this one,
it's got to be.
Yeah, this one actually gave 5 stars to. My ranking system is pretty simple. Is an enjoyable game, and was I sad when all the achievements were popped? There you go. If so. You usually get 5 stars out of me. So
there you go, and it's on sale this week.
It is, yeah. So, it's a definite pickup, I think. So, basically, you start off a stage, and it's like a top-down view. This is an excellent game if you have like a kitten that likes to get in your lap, and you can just sit there and keep the kitten busy while you play one-handed. I like good one-handed games where you can like just use the stick. Drive around. There's no need to jump or anything. There's no jumping in this game, and there's no turbos or anything like that. Literally, you're just driving. So you just use the analog stick on it and drive around. So the stage is top down. It's like a gray canvas, and the whole gist of it is that your vehicle shoots out paint. All right, so that's why it's splash. So you're shooting out paint, and your job is to sling paint on everything before you run out of gas. So you're basically painting the stage, and you have like a gas tank that's on the screen, and it slowly is going down. And there's more to it than that, because there's like all these power-ups that exist. There's like one that speeds you up. There's one that makes you like a large vehicle, like it makes you like 4 times larger, and you're like you just pump that paint out, man. That paint just covers everything. There's another one that's a weird one. It like turns you into a tank. I didn't really understand that one, where it like turns you into the slow freaking tank, and it's like you're shooting your turrets shooting paint, but it's like it's useless. I tried to avoid that one. Yeah. And then there's one that disables all the cop cars, because that's what you're being chased by. You're being chased by cop cars, and the cop cars like bump into you and cause damage to your car, and they just do their best to get in your way. So they don't. From what I can tell, they don't actually destroy you, because if you get to 100% damage, they kind of leave you alone. But basically, every time the higher the damage on your vehicle, the slower your vehicle goes, and so then you're less effective at spreading paint, and then you're still running out of gas the same level. So it just makes it more difficult to get through the stages. So you want to avoid the cops, kind of. And that's kind of the fun, is trying to evade the cops and have them run into the buildings, and they get stuck, and it's pretty good AI though. They follow you pretty close and everything. Okay. And but it's just an enjoyable like run around and everything. And then there's a few other wild cards in this game. There's tractors and 18-wheelers that drive around. So you if you get close to them, you spray your paint on them, and then they are painted, and then they start spreading paint. Okay. Otherwise, they take paint away, which is a pain in the butt. So like they go over the section you went over, and they take away the paint, and it's like, oh, come on. And so, and then the other thing is you have to get close enough to them without touching them, because if you touch them, they instantly die, and then they're gone. So then they're not helping you. So if you run into them, you might as well just start the stage over, because it's pretty well, at least in the later stages. In the early stages, you could probably get away with it, but there's a star system on it. So you have to get the certain percent of the stage painted. So for example, this is just making this up. There may be a stage that's just like this, but so for example, if you get 70% of it painted, you get 1 star. You might get 2 stars at 75, 3 at 80. It changes stage to stage. There's a couple of stages where it's like 95%, and it's tough. And so, but you don't have to get like every stage or every star on every stage. The achievements are very forgivable. But the point of getting the stars is that the first star might get you 100 coins, and so the coins are used to buy cars, upgrade your cars with. Well, you don't upgrade the cars; you just basically buy a new car. There's no resale market there, so you're just buying better cars. And then if you get 2 stars, it might unlock the next stage. Sometimes that unlocks with 1 star. It just varies. And then 3 stars sometimes unlocks the next car, so you can buy it. The cars have different size gas tanks, different size or different speeds. There's a couple of achievements tied to a few cars. Like I think there's 3 achievements tied to buying the cars. So you have to own the third one, own the car Supremer. That's car owner 3. That was one of the last achievements I popped. There's about 3 achievements that took a little bit longer. There's the first, you'll pop a lot of them right off the start, but it's a 2 to 3 hour completion, and that's about right. It's about 1200 TA, and that's about right. I mean, it's not like a super challenging game. It has the right amount of challenge where there's a couple stages you'll have to replay several times, and like you have to get to, let's say 80% of it, and you get like 78, and you're like, oh man, almost had, it's kind of one of those things. And
now,
you're like,
how long does each stage take? Like,
I'd say probably 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. There's some stages, like the earlier ones are real small, and then as you get further and further, you have to finish level 15. You don't have to finish it with 3 stars, you just have to finish it. So you do have to play the first 15 stages to get all the achievements. And by the time you get to level 15, the stages are pretty large. So I would suggest as you're going through it, you'll kind of get a feel for the stage. But what I did was I would search out. I divide it into sections. I kind of look at the stage and then take it in sections, and then I would move towards where I thought the tractors and the 18-wheelers would spawn, because you want to get them on your side immediately, or else they're just working against you, and then they can help you. So, and then you kind of go in the opposite direction of where the fuel tanks are, and kind of hit that section real quick, and then head back, and then pick up like the fuel tanks. You kind of have to be strategic with the fuel tanks, but you kind of get a feel for it. It's just really not as complicated as I'm making it sound. And then there's achievements for getting all the coins. Well, not all the coins, but getting 8,000 coins, and you get coins for failing. Every time you play it, you get coins. That's just that's where the 3 hours I think comes in, and then driving 50,000 miles is kind of the upper end of the, just, if you just play it, you'll be okay, kind of thing. So, but it's just a easy, nice, little quick playthrough, I guess. And it just reminded me, why it reminded me is, I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty closely aligned, is because the whole point is you're turning the road or the environment from uncharted, if you will, to finished, kind of a thing. So in one you're shooting paint, the other one you're just driving over it and it's changing colors, and that's kind of why it reminded me of it. And then also the cop car as the main antagonist was kind of closely aligned for me, because that's really the only enemies in
either one.
In either one of them. And then there's the whole picking up fuel cans / oil cans, and in City Connection you're actually flinging the oil cans at the cop cars, and in this one you're just getting the fuel cans so you can keep going. So it's maybe a little stretch, but that's the one that kind of reminded me.
I think I mean, it's not as good as Broforce and Lemmings, but I think you're pretty on point.
Well, I appreciate that. So, but yeah, it's an enjoyable game. Right amount of challenge. I would recommend it to anyone. The only thing I would say where it fell short is that, and it's a pretty short list, is that some extra info on the front end of each stage would be nice. Like, for example, if they just simply told you how many tractors and 18-wheelers there were on the stage, that would save you a lot of time. So, like, when they're showing you the level stage, if they just put like a little tractor icon and then put like a 3, so okay, there's 3 tractors I need to find, or and 18-wheelers, 4 or whatever. There's never more than like 4 or 3 of each one. But because several times I play the stage and then all of a sudden I see this tractor that's like, undoing everything I did. I'm like, well, where the hell did that thing come from? And so then I started counting, and so that would save you some time. That would be a nice little addition, I think. And then the only other thing is to kind of make it more obvious where the fuel tanks were, because like when you first started a stage, it took me a minute to find this, but if you do nothing, it zooms out. So they don't really tell you that because but as soon as you hit a button, it's go time. So if you don't ever idle there, you wouldn't know that it zooms out. And even when it zooms out, like maybe it's my eyes, I'm getting old, but I guess you could theoretically get off the couch and go up and like look really close at it. But I mean, who's got time for that? They should make it more obvious where the fuel tanks were, because that's kind of how I based my strategy. Is like if all the fuel tanks were on the right side, I would hit the left side first, and then I'd be coasting in on fumes by the time I got to the fuel tanks, and so that's about the only thing I would say that they could add to enhance the game, I guess. So there you go.
Nice. And I was looking at and there's no co-op at all in it. It's just all single player, right? I was looking at the achievement list.
As far as I know, I didn't even attempt to play co-op, so that would be actually kind of fun doing it like. Except for it'd have to be zoomed out, but that would actually be a couch co-op would be kind of fun for this game, I guess.
Well, maybe like have like a co-op where you work together, and then have a co-op where you fight each other. Like you have like a red paint and a blue paint, and you're trying to get the most paint on the level.
Then it would be like what is that, Crayola Scoot or Splatoon or whatever the hell.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Oh, too close to another game, huh?
Yeah. See, it was clearly trying to be more like City Connection. So
obviously.
So yeah. But that's my pick for you. So,
nice. Some solid picks this week. I think it's our best episode so far.
Well, we're trending at the right time.
We're just getting better and better every week.
I'm telling
you. Every 6 months.
That's it. Yeah, time will do that. So
it's like a fine aged wine.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fine aged wine, I have your retro Chivo of the day. All right. Your flashback retro. All right, so here's your flashback retro Chivo of the day. I don't really have much to tease on it because it's pretty simple what it is, but it comes to us from DJ Hero 2, where you set up and save 3 set lists in quick play for the achievement of mixtape creation. So I miss those old mixtapes. Yeah, I assume you, being the musical guy that you are king of the mixtape.
Oh man. I would record. I had so many mixtapes, and then my parents actually stopped buying me. Like you ever have a mixtape you can record stuff off, and then you pop off the tabs on the top so nobody can record over it, right?
Oh yes, that's something a lot of people don't know about. Like you can make it permanent. Well, I guess it's not permanent because you can just put tape over it.
Yep, exactly. That was the hack. Yeah, you made it permanent to people that didn't do mixtapes, and they're like, I can't record over. It's like, yes, you can, but I'm not going to tell you how.
Right. Yeah, I feel you. See, for me. I lived about an hour and a half away from Dallas, and so Dallas had this thing on Saturday nights called Edge Club 94. It was on Edge Club. It was on the Edge 94.5, I think was the call for it. But anyway, but on Saturday night they play techno music, and it was called Edge Club, and they'd play it from like 8 till 1 in the morning or something like that, and they just do it once a week.
Basically CNC Music Factory all night long.
They played real techno music, and so and so I didn't want to miss it, and so my friend and I, he like set up this huge antenna and everything, and then every once in a while, like for me, like if the winds were blowing right, I could pick it up because like they have to, like it was a stretch. Like I'm sure the audio quality now, I mean, it's just terrible. I still have all these recordings and everything, but we would record it, and so we record like set it to long extended record, right? How you and get like the largest cassette you could, and I try to record like the first half, he'd record the second half kind of a thing, and then we'd go through it and just cut out all the commercials and record it to a new a mixtape, and any songs we didn't like, just kind of cut them out and everything. So we would make mixtapes out of this program every week. So
nice.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That should be our outro music.
Yeah. I mean, it's some good stuff, man. I still listen to it on my iPhone now. With I've converted it over to digital, and I mean, it's all very old school techno at this point. I mean, it's like God, 30 years old now. But yeah, that was kind of what we did in high school for our mixtapes.
Gosh,
So,
I remember sitting by the radio and like waiting for the song to come on and hitting record.
yeah.
I want that song.
Right, yeah. You always miss like the first 5 seconds of it. And you're like,
Yeah.
I'll get it next time, but it's good enough for now.
Exactly. It's like, oh man, I missed that first, like, it would just be a hard start on every song. Like, boom, oh, okay. Well,
you're in.
That one. Yep.
So, cool. There you go. So that's your retro Chivo of the day.
Nice. Well, I got your Freaky Rose achievement solution.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Very popular.
Yes. Backed by popular demand.
Uh-huh. It's popular every 6 months.
This achievement solution is for the game Blind Postman. Have you played Blind Postman?
Oh yes. There's a couple achievements in that game that will drive you a little insane. It's I think it's the title updates maybe.
Yes, this achievement is from the title update number 2.
I didn't know there was a second one. I just learned something. I had no idea that there was a second one, but there's one. I'm sorry. Oh, complete level 37 in 18 seconds or less, and then complete level 8 in 16 or less seconds.
Yeah,
that about drove me crazy, man.
You know how many times I hit like 1 second over each one of those, like 19 seconds and 17
it's
seconds.
So frustrating. Yeah, yes. But yeah, that's all I remember from that game. It was yeah. Anyway, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So this achievement is from Title Update 2 from Blind Postman. The achievement is 40 mines. Remove 40 mines. And the solution comes to us from VidGamiac.
Okay.
The achievement should unlock automatically after installing the update, if you had the game completed already. If you're still short on mines, level 19. Press right to remove mine, restart level, repeat until you get the achievement.
Wow.
Right? There you go.
I see that. Yeah, that's got 1 thumbs up. I'm about to give it a second thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a third.
Oh, man. This guy's going to be like, wow. People are finally appreciating my work.
I know. Everybody go out there, go to the Blind Postman solution of 40 mines and give VidGamiac a thumbs up for that solution. It's amazing.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. And
anytime.
Taking time.
Glad I could finally come and record another one.
That's it. So, no idea when we'll be back, but thanks everyone for listening to us ramble on for what seems like an hour.
That's right. Right. Yep.
All right, everyone. Y'all take care.
Peace.